Audio was lost. Computers froze, files were corrupted, history has been lost to time. All of our thoughts on the story of the present, the biomes of the game, returning gameplay mechanics, and a lot of the new ones, completely gone. Nobody will ever know except me and Scuffy because he was here with me talking about those things. Right, Scuff? How's it going?
Good. Sorry for this unknown fuck Microsoft type vibes. Yeah, I had an unknown froze. It does happen, but it's super rare. It's just I guess midlife crisis just came out of nowhere in my system. So
Yeah, real quick, how are you doing on your components? Did you manage to upgrade your whole system before all this these PC price hikes went into effect, or are you kind of
I
fucked right
mean,
now?
it's been no, I mean my video card this system's about 2 years old now, I would say. So yeah.
I mean, that seems
But
pretty current.
I'm glad where I'm at, honestly, because right now the market of components, well, it's just for RAM basically, it's through the roof. And obviously with RAM being shortage now because of AI being used more favored, GPUs is all could be
They'd
limited as
rather
well.
sell all of that to these AI companies instead of us.
Yeah. They
Yeah.
said F the consumers, let's just give it to the bot.
Let's just give it to our overlords, the Terminators, instead.
Let's just give it to Ultron. That's what's gonna happen.
Let's give it to Ultron. All right. Um yeah, I mean that sucks. This is the I mean, but this is just I think this is like a rite of passage for podcasting because I've heard podcasts where they've done this kind of thing for 10 plus years and they also experience technical difficulties. They experience corrupted files and lost media in that sense. They typically decide to re-record and do everything again from the top. We're not going to do that. I I guess we can give really quick summations of all the previous stuff that we covered here, Scuff, in these first three categories. I'll say I'll start off.
Okay,
I
but come on, let's be real though. After all the conversation we talked about, do you understand what I'm saying? That they kind of rushed this game. If you start to think about it, when we talk about certain categories of the game and stuff like that, even though the game was long to make, it still felt like it was rushed so hard.
I
Personally,
do
to
want
me.
to I do want you to elaborate a little bit on that cuz I feel like I agree with you that the game is not a masterpiece. It's not a 10 out of 10 like the previous ones, but I wouldn't equate it or blame it on rushing. I would blame it more on just
Or maybe
honestly
lazy, I would say.
no, I wouldn't say that. I would say honestly just a lack of like ingenuity. You know, just like they had some ideas, they had like good intentions. They were like, "Hey, this sounds kind of cool and we think we can do something cool with this." But they just didn't come up with ingenious solutions to implement them and make them work, right?
Yeah.
Like what they do here, they do it well for the most part, but the ideas that they're trying to build on and expand upon, like with the desert, the open area, we talked about this already. We talked about sort of what we feel about them, and you brought up a good point where it's like it feels like a half step. This isn't a full blown like really alive and interesting open area, but it's also definitely not a traditional Metroid area where you're kind of just doing walking around doing regular Metroid stuff. Literally, you're driving, so it's very different. But it doesn't. It's not different enough in the ways that would make it a success, basically.
Yeah.
And like you said, they do some cool stuff out here. Like I think the shrines are a cool idea. Going on that idea of like the ideas are cool, but the execution, I think that's one of my three words is execution, elegance, and yeah, there's another one. I'll come on it. It's not the time yet, But I don't know if I would go so far as to say as laziness or time crunch because they have had time. Like the reboot of the project happened. I'm sorry, I don't know the exact year, but it's been years. Like I think they've had more than enough time to actually put together a full game with their stamp and their own DNA and take on it. They didn't just pick up the pieces of an old project and then get like a year to put it together, right? Like it
Yeah.
wasn't like that. Like they've had like 3 4 years, so they had more than enough time if they needed to start from scratch to do so. Because honestly, remember they have the engine. This is the same engine that they've had since Prime One, and it's been evolved to make a game like Metroid Prime Remastered. So they're not starting from
Yeah.
scratch. They know how to make a Metroid Prime game. They've actually just recently got like I'm sure these are all like most of the team is now new people. It's been 20 years. It's not going to be all the same people that made the original trilogy, but these new people have had a chance to learn what making a Metroid Prime game is like through the remaster. They're like, "Holy shit. All right, we've literally just remade a classic. We now know what it takes and what that experience entails." So I wouldn't give them enough of a break to be like, oh, it's just their first project. You know, it's a whole new team, probably. Like, just cut them some slack. Like, no, I won't go that far. But I also wouldn't go so far as to say that they were being just lazy or they were rushed or anything. Because I don't think it's either of those either. I think it really is just, hey, man, like sometimes you just don't got the sauce, right? Hey, you could be a nice guy, but you go up and you talk to that girl and you just say all the wrong things and she never calls you, right? Like sometimes things just don't work out because you couldn't land it. You know what I mean? Like all
Yeah.
the good intentions, all the good ideas, they kind of are all for naught unless you can actually pull them off well. And I think that's just what we have here where I think they saw sort of the like there's I'm sure there's a script, not a script, but like a plaque basically. Imagine this, a plaque like at Retro, and it has like the 10 commandments on it, right, that give them direction on how they approach games and how they find excellence and create excellence. And I think
Yeah.
after playing the original Prime games, one of those is breaking the mold. If they have a motto or quote on there, break the mold. No Metroid Prime or Metroid game had a dark world mechanic, had an ammo system until Metroid Prime 2. They introduced that. That was bold, that was daring, and they could have fucked it up. It could have been something that didn't work, but I think it did, and it's my favorite game in the Metroid Prime series now. Metroid Prime 3. That's the first Metroid game we've ever had where you have multiple planets to explore. As a mechanic, they could have fucked it up. It could have not worked. But again, they just like it's like the Beatles, dude, where it's like they just couldn't write a bad song, right? Like they just had all the right people working on this and firing on all cylinders. They took bold, daring steps to try and make each of these games unique and different from each other with unique gameplay mechanics, and they succeeded in the past. Unfortunately, this new team currently, maybe they're going to learn, but for this specific game, again, maybe you're right. Maybe it was the reboot and picking up the pieces from the other project that or the other studio that gave them these pieces, but they just couldn't find the secret sauce to make it all come together expertly the same way old Retro would have done it. But they tried
Yeah.
interesting things. They tried an open world system. It's a half measure. I think it's not. I wouldn't say it's a bad one. Like if it were gonna grade a specific elements, like I wouldn't grade the open world mechanic and stuff like a 5 or a 4 out of 10. Like I think it's like a 7. Like I think it's really cool, but for reasons we discussed in the lost audio, I was a little disappointed in some respects by it. But you brought up a good point where they kind of improved on the end game collectathon with the green crystals and the machine stuff, the mech parts that they implemented here, because you could actually tackle that throughout the course of the game from the very beginning. You don't have to do it all at the end, but I know some people from anecdotal evidence, reviews, and comments I've read, they're like, "Oh my god, I spent like 2 hours at the end, stupid running around getting crystals." I'm like, I didn't. Like
Yeah.
I played it differently. I played it as it's intended. I will say this though, we didn't discuss this. Miles talking to you and reminding you where to go and what to do all the time in the desert. I don't think anybody liked that. Like I didn't even like that. And I like the characters. I'm not one of these people that hates that there's NPCs in these games now and Samus talks to people. I don't mind that. Even I didn't like, though, that you couldn't turn it off. This
Yeah.
motherfucker would say the same thing like 5 times in 10 minutes, bro. I swear to God, he'd be like, you should really go check out Volt Forge. And then, swear to God, like 2 minutes later, hey,
Don't
Volt
forget to
Forge. Oh, go ahead.
don't forget to collect the crystal shards to it was like the only thing he could ever say. Don't forget to collect this crystal shards to store into the memory fruit to acquire the memory fruit. And I'm like, okay, we get that, bro.
And I mean, again, I liked the voice acting. I didn't mind him talking. I just hated that he kept talking about the same things over and over. It would literally repeat the same voice dialogue again and again. Like, that's a definite, like, again, it's just one of those things where there's baffling decisions. Like, I guess those are the three words, like inelegant, baffling, and now I forgot what the first word was. But there were some decisions across various elements of the game that I'm just like, they keep this game that I already think is really fun and I had a great time playing it throughout most of it, but by the end of it, when I look at it all in its totality, it just doesn't hold up compared to the previous three primes. It's those games are tens. This one's like a 7 or 8 out of 10, and that in and of itself is a whole story because it just breaks the mold of that perfect streak that they had. I do like the setup of the story. I love the whole being stranded. I think we're gonna go into the lore right now, so this is a big thing. But like the sort of reasoning behind it and how it was pulled off. But I like the idea where this is something that's never happened before, where she and others have been stranded like this. I think it's a good setup. I love the biomes. They're all really cool. There's some great moments in them all. The graphics speak for themselves. They're brilliant, but also the actual art direction is really good. Like Volt Forge is gonna be iconic for me. Like I can't mistake that or forget it because those buildings and like everything about the environment, the bike shops and all that, so iconic and cool. Ice Belt, like there's something about each place that I love, even though you hate Great Minds because of the sound mechanic.
Personally, my favorite one's gonna be um what's it called? Fury Green? Is that what it's called? I forgot what it's called.
The grass one?
Yeah, because of the
Why?
song.
Say it. Oh, okay. Dun, 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 dun,
It's just
dun, dun.
kind of it sound very actually Metroid Prime soundtrack. Like it blended like well with like as it blended so well to be as an original Metroid soundtrack with other Metroid Prime games in it. So like obviously Prime 1 and Prime 2 and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, since we're just glossing over everything, I think they nailed it. Whoever was in charge of the music, they fucking killed it. I give it a 10
Yeah.
out of 10. The soundtrack is amazing. Volt Forge, I think, takes the cake even out of all the brilliance that's in every area. The rock music, I love guitar music, and they were
Yeah.
shredding. That segment of the game just completely rocked my socks off all the way to the end with the boss battle. Even the boss has a fucking kick-ass song. But overall, in general, sound is great, voice acting is great. Um, and then when it comes to the sort of foundations of the game, they they nailed it. It feels and plays exactly like the old games, for better and for worse. Everything, you're first person, all the controls feel great, combat still feels tight. You still got your lock on. They didn't fuck with that or anything. That feels cool. I like the dual weapon system where you can hit enemies with the elementals but still also pepper in power beam shots, which Scuffy didn't know about because he's a scrub and I have to school him on all this stuff. And then just kidding. But like the bike, again, all that. So yeah, that's kind of where we left off. We covered all that stuff. Um, yeah, and you already said your piece, right? Where you're like, this is you, or you were saying like it's like it feels like they didn't give it their very best. This isn't the
Yeah.
best first foot forward for Prime's return.
Yeah.
All right, all right.
Maybe for me, generation, maybe personally, what I couldn't think of is why they did this. Well, obviously, this game is 8 years ago, or this game was obviously been back about 8 years ago since the last Prime game, and I believe maybe I could be wrong. Maybe it's just a generational thing for upcoming new kids playing games that are not into previous Prime games. So maybe this is like a uh understanding for the kids to know what Prime's all about. maybe type of vibe. This is how I could guess why it maybe seems like it's not a very like how it was in Prime 1, 2, and 3. That's my only guess to say.
Are you trying to say that it feels like a reset and it's safer for a new generation, or you're saying it's trying to
Yeah,
be
yeah.
different to try to accommodate and please a new
Maybe
generation?
both. Maybe
Oh, okay.
yeah, maybe both. Um, but yeah, I don't know how to explain it, but I just feel like maybe it was just for upcoming generational new kids playing to the gaming industry with Prime game, with this new Prime game that this game came out and stuff like that. That I could be wrong, but I mean that's my only take I could think of. Maybe that's why they did this kind of gameplay for a reason. Um, but other than that, like that's the only thing I could think of. Is either they didn't do their best to it, or it's probably just to be safer with the upcoming generation of the kids joining the gaming industry and playing this new game, Metroid Prime 4, and they never have a chance to play all the previous old games. That was, well, let's say total wise, what, how many years from then since till,
Well, literally, if someone was born when Metroid Prime 3 came out, they're 18 now.
yeah,
So like they're probably like, yeah, they've been playing games since they were 12. Like they've never played a Metroid Prime game. Like you
yeah,
said, except remastered, which came out a couple years ago, but even then, I don't know if that brought all the boys to the yard. I'm hoping it did. It was only $40, which is crazy. Um
yeah,
but yeah, it does feel like a like I think what you're getting at, which is actually a good point, which is, it does feel like a hodgepodge of like old and new. Like you said, we got the old beam weapons back, the elementals. The combat mechanics are still the same as they were back in 2002 for the most part, with the Z targeting and all that, the first person. And but then they're trying to incorporate sort of this new sort of like a open world 3D design like that we've seen in Breath of the Wild. Like if anything, like I said, the Viros, the Soul Valley kind of reminds me of the Great Plateau and sort of how that works and how it's designed, and the four shrines that are on there and how that those four shrines are echoed here in Prime 4 with the four different biomes in the four corners of
yeah,
the map. Like it kind of feels like they saw what they were doing there and they liked it. And again, they wanted to do that. They wanted to kind of capture some of the magic of those new game design ideas that took the world by storm when Breath of the Wild came out. But again, I'm just saying it wasn't for lack of effort. It was just lack of a little bit of skill, right? In trying to implement all these things expertly and make a perfect first attempt the way Breath of the Wild did. Like, I can't stress enough how amazing it is. Not that just Breath of the Wild is as amazing as it is, but that they got it right the first time they did it. That's
yeah,
the first time they went open world and they killed it. Unfortunately for Metroid Prime 4 in the new era, they tried to, they try to follow old Retro's lead and do new and interesting things to expand what Metroid games can do and be. They just didn't. They don't have. As of right now, it seems like they just don't have the Riz, and part of it is, I think it's echoed in the lore, the lore for this game. The Metroid Prime games are interesting and different, obvious, not just for obvious reasons, like from the 2D games in that they're 3D, but because there's a greater emphasis on exploration and story. How much scanning do you do in the 2D Metroid games, Scuff?
What kind of question is that? That's my
Exactly.
that's my answer right there.
Exactly. That is a exclusively, specifically a Metroid Prime feature. When you're running around in 2D Metroid games, you're fucking running. Like you're just like going and jumping and all that stuff. Like the focus is purely on movement exploration, based exploration. With all the Metroid Prime games, that changed right from the start. Metroid Prime 1, I think you literally can't figure out, or you need help to get through that beginning area, and you only get like those clues with scanning. You need to scan not just for solving puzzles, but also if you want to learn about what's going on in the environment. You can scan and learn about lore. Those are the big scans. Those are the permanent ones that go into your logbook. And then there's a lot of flavor text and like optional scans that'll be like, oh, this plant is for like it thrives for this reason and it grows here and it has these properties. They expand and flesh out the world, these environments Samus is exploring, in ways that is unheard of in the 2D games. You just do not do that. And so the story of the present with Samus is of course important, obviously. That's what you're doing. It's like, what's her mission, her current objective? What is she trying to accomplish? But in these games, they've also have emphasized the lore. Again, straight right from the beginning. Metroid Prime 1, you learn about the Chozo and the what they were doing there and what happened to them through the lore. You learn about the
Yeah.
space pirates, what they were doing before Samus arrived by scanning their computers and learning that is lore. So like when we're talking about the story of the present and all that and how that works, we can start there before going to the lore. Um, One of the core gameplay mechanics that's new that we didn't cover in the lost recording is your companions. And that's a really big one because that is something that we got a little taste of in Metroid Prime 3. Metroid Prime 1, zero. There's no other NPCs that Samus will talk to. Metroid Prime 2, that changed a little bit with Umos, the guy back at home base. He talks to Samus, doesn't follow her though. He just stays there the whole game. You only talk to him a few times. No biggie, you're alone most of the time. Prime 3 though. I mean, tell me, Scuff, like how much character interaction is there in that game?
Big time. Big time. We're talking about we could talk to every single federation, we could talk to the commander, and we could talk to the other bounty hunters that were there too and stuff like that. Well, not really talk to them, but like you encounter them with the talk and stuff
They
like
have
that.
cutscenes
So
and stuff.
yeah, yeah.
So like retro has been heading in this direction. Like it was from Prime 2 and on, it's been clear like they are not afraid to go in this direction, a direction that a lot of hardcore, I don't know if it's a lot even, but a few hardcore Metroid fans, fans of the first 3 Metroid games are not exactly on board with or happy with, but retro, I think they're making the right moves there because in the story of things for Samus, she is basically like a Galactic Federation contractor. She is solo, but she works with them a lot. And they're humanoids like her too. They're also sentient, smart people that, talk and stuff like that. So naturally she was just gonna eventually find herself in one of these scenarios in these games where she was gonna be in the room with other people. And
Yeah.
Retro ripped that band-aid off with Prime 3 and I think they did a great job. I Again, this is another instance where this is not exactly brand new. It's but in Metroid Prime 3 you did have escort missions. You had one basically, right, on Space Pirate Homeworld with the one Galactic Federation soldier that's locked there and he's like sending SOS messages to you.
Oh, dude, that threw me off, bro. That
I
was a
didn't see
crazy
that coming
part.
either.
Yeah, I thought I was like okay, but then I was slowly forgetting like oh wait, there is a hunter that does mimic able to copy actually like copy a character, and yeah, that threw me off. I was like oh, when I saw like like the beginning of the trader part, like it was she was being traded. I'm like oh, that's her. She got me good right there. I was like all right, that was a clever thing that she did.
It got me too. It was a good twist. But
Yeah.
though that is one of only 2 instances in that game where you are shoulder to shoulder with Galactic Federation soldiers. So in that one, it's pretty short, and I think it went really smooth. You just do a few little sequences, and then the next time is in the same biome, the same world where you have the combat, right, where you're trying to get to that one place to transport to the Leviathan seed, and you have all those Galactic Federation soldiers with you that you're trying to escort.
Oh yeah. That one, dude, you know what's funny?
I don't think you can do it without losing somebody. It's really
No, 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 no,
tough.
no, no. So what happened was I was kind of disappointed in that part because not because of losing to the Federation. That was part was easy. There was a final part before you bring your ship in to actually get to the boss part. I was low in health and I was struggling taking down those high end space pirates and stuff like that because I had to play off with my phasons, my phazon ability, and like you know how like in if you're on the phase on too much, it will start to being corrupted, and you have to release it to get rid of it. I was kind of playing with it because that was the only way for me to sort of mimic my health, sort of kind of like a mimic a health because. For Peter, I was actually low in my health. I was struggling because those space pirates were stupid tanky, bro. It was not a joke. Like I struggled that part.
No, yeah, those
Remember the
space pirates were tough, man.
yeah, it was a part that you have to like open the user control get to the control to open the thing, and that's when that space pirates come out of nowhere and just push you off, and you have to face that very like bulky space pirate. That part I struggled right there because I was waiting for like I was hoping for like a save or something because as soon as I got to that part, I'm like, dude, I only have like 3 energy bars left. I kid you not. And I was struggling, like it was hard, and I died like maybe like 4 or 5 times because I was trying to figure out. I was trying to mimicking my Phazon as a health, and to the point that it tells me to like get rid of it. But the scariest part too is that when you're in that mode, when it's telling you to get rid of it and you get damage, it actually increases higher. So you have to like constantly like freaking spam your like missiles or whatever, just whatever phase on ability you have to do to get rid of the health. But then I start to like wait to as soon as it gets lower, that's when I start play with it. Like, dude, because I had to like didn't want to use my main energy cells and tank to use my health because I wasn't those guys were doing damage at the same time too. So yeah, I struggled there.
Yeah, it was tough. Like I honestly found the combat in Prime 3 to be really engaging and interesting, and I like you said, I think it's even better than it is here because of that. But yeah, those are the only two instances in the previous Prime games where we had companions fighting alongside us, and in the first instance with Gandreda, I don't even think you really fight that much with her, but she also can't get knocked down or damaged, right? Like I don't think she can go down at all when you're with her for that brief stint. But the one with the with the trying to go through the tunnels to get to the landing pad, those guys will die. And like I guess you can't have too many
Yeah,
of them die.
I think it was I only lost like 3 people. That was about it. But it said that you only needed 4 or 5, I believe. But I still had well over enough to get the Federation to do their job, stuff like that. So
Oh yeah, they give you like 12 of them or something.
yeah,
But
yeah.
that was a fun sequence because it was a nice one-off thing, and it was like actually like a challenge where you're like, okay, we need at least.
Yeah, that's true. That is a probably like a thing that I didn't know about. I mean I didn't realize like yeah, that was a actual like good challenging mission to do is save your federations to get to this endpoint to have them do their tasks and stuff like that. That was not a thing in Prime 4. Yeah, no. Other we'll get to it to the end part, but essentially like yeah, there was no like Federation involvement like to do them something
Actually,
in Prime
no,
4.
no, Prime 4. I think that the companions they ratcheted it up. Like they really go in on having like basically these escort missions where you come across somebody and yeah, they're with you. And unlike Gandreda in Prime 3, they can go down. Like they can take damage and actually die in the line of
Yeah.
in the line of duty. Um, which is kind of new because even like I said in Prime 3, those guys will die. Like you're going to lose a few of them, but it's okay. Like you don't have to keep them all alive. You can't actually heal them or anything, so it's really just trying to keep as many alive as possible, like Pikmin or something. You just want to make sure you don't lose them all. Um, Prime 4 changes it where these are story characters, they are special. They are main characters basically,
Yeah.
and they kind of ease you into it if you think about it, right? Because I know in the very beginning you start off and it's like, bam, already you got Miles. But you're really only escorting him like across the bridge. And it's like, it's just that one section. And then after
Wait.
that,
Oh, I'm like Miles, but you're going by his first name. I always think of Mackenzie for some reason because that's not his name,
okay, football coach over here.
Mackenzie, get over here now.
Mackenzie. Yeah, no, yeah. We're friends. I'm friends with him. He's Miles to me. All right. We're on a first name basis. So sorry. Um, but yeah, they sort of introduce it early, but they immediately like back off of it. Like all you do is you kind of need him, so like they had to get him in there quick. But after that, when you go to Volt Forge, not only do you not come across any Galactic Federation soldiers there, Miles actually loses contact with you where you can't even talk to him on the radio.
Oh yeah, I
And
remember
for
that.
yeah, so for a lot of people, they kind of like that one the best because they're like, this is classic Metroid because Samus is actually alone. Like there's no contact with anybody
Yeah, they
else.
did that similar in Prime 3 with which one was it, the Phazon area? Oh no no no. When she goes to that secret ice area to collect her uh fuck, what is it called?
Screw attack.
The screw attack, yeah. And her companion like bot just lost connection with her and shit like that. So
Oh yeah, you I forgot about that. You're right. No, we've
yeah.
actually have like before Miles, before Mackenzie, we had the Aurora unit.
Yeah, the roaring, yeah, what were they called? Yeah. The brain looking things, what were they called?
The not mother brain.
Yeah, the not mother brains.
That was just like kind of creepy and I
And not
didn't
gonna
like
lie,
it.
that was fucking creepy, bro.
I
Well,
love
not the them as talking, but the part when you lose you lost connection to them. I'm like, what the fuck is that, bro? That just scared the fuck out of me.
Nah, man. When I saw that, I totally forgot that they were in the game, and I was like deep in the lore already, and I was like, "Oh my god, that's just Mother Brain. What the fuck are they doing? Why are they doing this? It's gonna turn on you. It's gonna turn evil." But no, yeah, you're right. I totally forgot that before Prime 4 and Mackenzie being on the radio all the time, we had somebody who was on the radio with Samus all the time, and it was the Aurora unit. So they aren't treading new ground here or like introducing like straight poison into people's veins in large amounts that they never experienced before. We have had like Galactic Federation companions before. We have had a person in the ear talking to Samus. Do they handle both those things as well as they did in the past games? I don't know. I that's the thing. I'm not on the same page with everybody when it comes to characters and characterization and character involvement and story in Metroid games because again, I grew up with Fusion. That game is pretty linear and it has a lot of story and it has a lot of character dialogue and even Samus talks to herself and stuff in that
Yeah.
game and to Adam, I think. It's been a while since I played it, but I think she talks in some of those scenes with the computer and stuff. So like none of that is foreign to me and it's not anything I don't like. There's going to be those people in the community that always hate that and like they hate that stuff in this game. So before we get into any of sort of the crazy detail about the each companion and how they handle those things and stuff, like sort of like what's your surface level take on this game and the present day story and how it chose to incorporate a lot of these, companions and these escort quests and stuff like that with them. How did you feel about it all by the end of the game?
It was cool. The only down part, like, yeah, because we were teleported to an unknown planet. So, and then of course, like the only thing that I find it more kind of fascinating with Prime 3 is that we actually encounter different bounty hunters, while in Prime 4 we're actually encountering with full like character federation, but not with other. Well, Silex quote unquote was technically a hunter, but there's a story to it. We'll get to it later. But yeah, we didn't ever encounter other hunters that that was not compared to Prime 3. And obviously, like we talked about this already, how Mackenzie could be annoying sometimes when you're roaming the desert and stuff like that. So, um, but no, they were cool. I enjoyed the like actually we got a facial looks of the federations and stuff like that. Obviously I wasn't gonna be surprised if we're gonna encounter a robot. I mean, I figured a federation does have a robot in there somewhere. Um, but no, yeah, I mean, I had no issues with that at all whatsoever. Yeah,
Okay.
that's the only thing. Yeah, that's the only thing I could think of. Yeah.
All right, because there's some people out there who like you read the comments, and I mean, this is a spoiler cast, so we can keep alluding to the ending, but they're like, man, like, I couldn't press that button fast enough. Like, I wanted these people to die so bad. I hated them. They were so annoying. I didn't like them. Like,
Nah, there's no way. Did it really say that?
yeah, and it's anecdotal. So, I'm
I'm
just
sorry. They're not Metro fans. They're just being haters. I would have to say.
I'm gonna go even further than that. If you're one of those people that feels that way, and I know these aren't real people, these are just fucking video game characters, right? But I think they were done really well, and they actually do kind of feel, they do feel like real people. And I think the acting and writing for them was actually really good. And like you mentioned, quick right there, the face capture, oh, it's really good. Like
Yeah.
the faces look great. The motion capture is really good. Like I don't think they cut corners here at all. I honestly love these characters, and by the end of the game, like I liked all of them. I really did. And any of those people, like this isn't just specifically in defense of these characters, but sort of like that kind of talk and that kind of sentiment. If you're one of those people that's like that, where like, oh man, I'm so glad they're so dead. Like, oh, that's so great. You're just a bad person. Like, I don't know how else to say it. Like, it's not, again, it's not just specifically about these characters. I, that's not, that's not good person, like, emotion and behavior right there. Like, I don't know what's wrong with you, but you're off. Like, you're not okay if you think, like, oh, Mackenzie deserves to die because he talks a little too much. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you? You're the problem. Like, you're,
Yeah. And the funniest thing too, besides him being annoyed, he was actually my favorite Federation character, honestly.
he's a nice guy. And he was
Yeah.
kind of funny.
It was cool. I just, yeah, like I said, the way the characters are developed, the face expressions, their character build up and stuff like that, and just how cool they're with Samus and stuff like that. I did like Mackenzie because obviously Mackenzie did help with her upgrades and stuff like that. So, and he kind of, to be honest, he kind of carried it. He kind of like told Samus like, so this will happen to this will happen to that. I can help you upgrade this, and yada 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 and stuff like that. So
He built the mech.
yeah,
Without the mech, they don't even get to the end of the game. They're just kind of stuck out there, and I guess Silex just whittles them down by just attacking them constantly at after that point with the different robots and stuff.
the
Like,
only the only thing that I couldn't say I didn't like, but I don't know why they just added it in it is why would they have to say like you need a specific class to do this? Just say like if we only have Mackenzie, that's
oh yeah,
only.
yeah.
Yeah, I
Like
don't know
like if
why
you
they
had an
had.
option.
Yeah, like if you had an option, like bro, you're saying there's more than one tech federation or what? Like we just have Mackenzie, that was only it. So
I know it was acting like, "Oh, you should talk to the right person to do
yeah,
this." But it's like there's
yeah.
only one person. I don't know why I keep saying what is it?
It
Like a
had
tech
one.
level 4?
It had yeah. It had like a one of each role federation. It sounds like you're saying there's more than one of characters of that role specific or something like that. So
That's a deep pull. That's right. I did think that was weird. Like every time you got the little chips, it was like, all right, oh, this can only be implemented with a level 4 engineer. I'm like, yeah, I know we only have one level 4 engineer, and it's
yeah,
him. No, he's an MVP. Like they all are great. Like when you review like sort of their part in the story, they were all helpful. Like remember,
yeah,
we'll go over each of them. Like again, I was going over the sort of how they rolled out these characters and how they kind of ease you into the idea of being with a companion. They start small. So again, Green Fury is a bit of a full frontal assault. You get Miles, you get all of him for a good like 10 minutes, and then after that he's back at base. You never go out with him again. Then you go to Volt Forge. Again, that entire campaign, you're just by yourself. So that's like old school. They're like, all right, this is sort of how it used to be. Then you go to Ice Belt, and we're introduced to Takabe, but we're introduced to him in a sick fashion, bro. We're like that snow, what is it, snow dog section?
that part was kind of was I wasn't saying was kind of annoying, but I was like, okay, please hurry the fuck up because like I'm about to die or something like that.
I died. I
No,
died twice.
I actually survived.
Bro, like I was like, am I supposed to do something differently? Because these motherfuckers do not stop attacking.
Yeah,
Like it just kept going and going. I'm like, dude. And like I think they're trying to make you feel like, oh, this was actually dangerous for Samus, and if it wasn't for the Galactic Federation soldier helping her, she would have died because the dog was literally starting to eat her. And these dogs are fucking huge. They're like dire wolves over here. They were
they were crazy looking though. I'll say that.
They look cool. Like I love that
Yeah.
segment. It was fucking cool. I didn't expect it to be that like involved based on the trailer. I thought it was just like you could just run through and not fight, but no, you actually had to fight here. Um, but yeah, you get saved. Your ass gets saved by Takabe, who's sniping him with a Gatling gun from the building nearby. So he already, proves his worth and he plays a part in Samus's success in this mission by straight up saving her life. Mackenzie, of course, again, like gives her all those weapon abilities and the mech and, any advice that she needs through the campaign. Also, he makes the fucking teleport patches work.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah. True.
So
Yeah.
he was clutch. Like everybody's gonna prove themselves as being pretty clutch when we go over this. But like for him, again, you don't actually go full front and like are escorting him. You just talk to him once and then later on you have to do like a kill room scenario with him, right? Where you just fight off a bunch of grievers while fighting with him.
Oh, for Mackenzie, right?
No, for in the ice belt, Takabe.
Oh, Takabe, yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. I
Because
remember
his
that
leg is
part.
busted.
Yeah.
So he can't actually be an escort mission friend because he can't walk. So they made it so like, okay, well he can't come with Samus because he's injured. So they handled it pretty cool in that sense where it's like, okay, but you do get one segment with him where you had to fight off a bunch of grievers and he can get injured and fall there too. But yeah, again, they sort of introduce it a little bit more. Like we got a little bit more of that companion quest thing going, but not too much. Then you go to Flare Pool, and that's when it's like, okay, now we sort of lean into it a lot, and now you meet Duke, and he's not injured, and he's with Samus like for the entirety of that whole section. Not only that, you pick up somebody else too. So yeah, during the campaign, the most of the campaign, you have somebody either with you or nearby. And yeah, that's bold. That's new for this series. They never gone that far with
Yeah.
this companion system. And like you said, you already gave your thoughts. You're like, yeah, it was pretty cool for the most part. For a lot of people, they didn't like it. I'm just gonna say I loved it. I loved it. Like the story of the present. Like I guess we could get into that now, sort of into the sort of my experience with the game as I was playing it. Over the course of the game, my experience and feelings about the lore related to the Lamorne and some of the decisions that they seemingly had made in their history and stuff before they died was starting to piss me off and seem really bad and poorly done. But I had no issues with the story of the present. I think all the missions that they gave us were cool. Exploring these, like again, we said I love the biomes. They were really cool. I think the pacing of the game is great. Like all of these things, the characters you meet and when you meet them and what they do with you and stuff, I think they all happen at a nice pace. I think the game had really good pacing where there was no stretch where I felt like it was too slow or it went on like it was too short or anything. Like the game is actually a ton of fun. The campaign is a really good time to play through. It's just by the end of it, when we get to the end of this, it's when you start asking questions and thinking about sort of how this scenario came to be and specifically all the stuff with the Lamorne that things get really hairy with me. And of course the ending of the game, which I think is easily the most controversial part of this game of all the controversies that are in the game. But yeah, as a really big element of the present events of the story are the companions and also the one you're not with most of the time, which is Silex. So I saw complaints online that they found Silex to be disappointing because he wasn't present as much. I'd argue that's kind of on par with Metroid Prime 1. Because as you know, Scuff, the final boss in that game is like a creature and you don't see them at all during the course of that campaign. So it's like, but that's not the case here with Silex. Like we fight him a total of 3 times. And I mean, like you said already, his theme kicks ass. Like I thought all those fights were cool. Like what did you think of like his appearances and sort of his presence during the course of the game and sort of how that was handled and sort of him as the main villain of it all.
Um, I didn't think that he was gonna be. Well, I didn't think that there was gonna be it was gonna be this specific hunter that was gonna be the main antagonist. Yeah, I didn't think that he was gonna be
You really thought it was going to be like a surprise way to get a different villain?
yeah,
Oh, interesting. I
and I
never
didn't
thought that.
know.
I didn't think
Yeah,
they were
yeah.
going to pull something and be like, oh no, there's actually a different person pulling the
To be
strings.
honest, I thought it was gonna be more like Prime 2, where you go to the obviously to the dark area, and you fight two bosses. You fight the Great Ink, or I forgot what they call it, the Great Dark Ink, and you have to fight Dark Samus again. I thought it was gonna be something like that in Prime 4, where you fight Silex and you had to fight something that's robust that came out of nowhere from of Veros, like a great monster or something like that. I thought it was gonna be something like that. But no, it was just fully on Silex. It was just well, the only this is the pointing part about Silex is that what happened to that timeline when they teleported, and because you said that you were saying in the beginning that somehow Silex was able to disrupt these there weren't any bosses, but essentially they were bosses to us, that somehow that the primes or they're infused with Metroids and stuff like that. Is that what you were saying earlier, or am I wrong? I
No,
could have
yeah,
sworn
you're
you said
right.
that.
Those bosses weren't evil at first. They only became evil after they were fused with the Metroid Silex brought with him.
Okay, so what the hell happened between that timeline? How long was that when, like, how do we know what happened during that teleport? Like, how long was that? Or nonetheless, we know that Salak's ability does teleportation, right? I could be wrong,
Hey,
right?
you're doing what I'm doing here, man. Or you're doing what I was doing like in the middle of the game and then like right at the dead ass end before the end, where I was theory crafting and I was asking questions. Questions like that, man, where it's like, okay, we're halfway through the game. We're at the end of the game. I still don't know some of the details about this because as part of this game's narrative, we don't actually get Silex's point of view on like what he was doing or sort of
Yeah,
even like what he wants or where
yeah,
he's at during the campaign. And you could do that. Like there's movies and stuff where we're not just the camera's not stuck behind the shoulder of one person. Like we do see other people's points of view and see what's going on in other parts of the story, right? Like they could have done that where we took a break from Samus and just watched a cutscene where like I don't know for like when he's at the lava area, right? Like he was there,
yeah.
right? I'm asking you. I'm not sure if that was him or if that was a robot copy. Do you think that was him?
Oh, that part? Yeah, I don't know. Cause, dude, like I was saying, like it was very confusing. Cause I can't, because, dude, in the end, he just came out from a healing pod, bro. Like, and the end of the day, he was coming out of a healing pod. So where was that timeline? Like, what happened when they all teleport? Cause everything happened all at once. Like, who knows how long Samus was been out for, and what Salix could have been doing and stuff like that, or where was Salix at when Samus is there and this and that. You know what I'm saying? Like that was a question that kind of confused me because then like how did that timeline where Salix if the lore was true what you said that Salix was messing with the bosses
And he's
and
just
turned them
running
to like
around doing evil shit.
yeah, and while Prime somehow just is gone, like just it's in she was already teleported, but we don't know how long she's been out for. Who knows how long and stuff like that. So that's why I'm like confused because at the end of the at the end of the day, he just comes out of a healing pod out of nowhere, bro. It was confusing, but I mean, character wise, like we talked about this, cool character, cool development he did, great voice actor and stuff like that. But the plot of Solix though was questionable though. That's the only thing I just got confused right there.
And you hit the nail on the head, Scuff. A lot of my complaints or issues regarding the story elements and like specifically again the Lamorne lore and even like you said some of the stuff that happened right before Samus woke up or during the time when everybody was figuring things out is up in the air. Like there's a lot of stuff that's unexplained. There's a lot of stuff where we just don't get enough information. We get some, but not enough to fully answer questions. If anything, they just raise more questions. And I just wonder if it had to be that way. And part of the reason I think it was is one, well, they just didn't, they decided not, they wanted to kind of, I think they wanted the twist to be that Silex wasn't ever anywhere but at Chrono Tower. Like I'm starting, I think originally I thought that was him at Flare Pool, you know, when he turns the dial and he destroys the bridge or whatever so Samus can't
Yeah.
cross. That, and then when he's in the ship and then he's trying to shoot Samus and the two Galactic Federation soldiers and he jumps out right before it crashes on that bridge battle in the same lava area. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
I thought that was him. Like the other times it was obviously at Volt Forge, those were copies. But now I'm starting to think he was never anywhere else. He was always at Chrono Tower at the center of Soul Valley,
Yeah.
just controlling robot copies. I'm not sure why he would save the life of a robot copy and make him jump out of the ship and stuff. It doesn't matter. He's just a copy. He could have let him crash. So that's what led me to think that was him. That was the real Silex. But, you know, it is just a question. Like, we don't know. They decided not to let us see behind the scenes and show little cutscenes here and there during the campaign where we just kind of like, you know, like when you see Thanos and like whatever he's doing and talking about, like just moments like that where we just see Silex and we hear him because he has voice acting in this game. We hear him talk about like why was he dicking around at the lava area? Like what did he want with the green energy? Was he interested in it? Was he just looking around? Like I agree with you. I think he's a cool villain. I think he's cool enough to be the main one for the trilogy if they do a trilogy, 4, 5, and 6. But I don't know if it was the best move to keep him and his motivations and his movements during this game as vague as they did, where they didn't really focus on him as much. But when you do see sort of how much of a part he played, I think he did. It was cool his part in all this where he was trapped there and he wasn't just like Ganondorf, you know, like in Tears of the Kingdom or something where he's literally just chilling underground. It's actually kind of like that actually, where he sends out the phantoms, you know,
Yeah.
like but otherwise he's in one spot the whole game. I think that's kind of what they did here with Silex. He's just in the tower the whole time, but he's
Yeah.
controlling cuz I think he actually did have a really good presence cuz I think it after a little bit you can connect the two, especially all right, we're getting into it. But real quick, like, what did you think about just his battles overall, his fighting, you know, move set and stuff? Like, we fought him 3 times. Like, how'd you
I think
think?
his final his actual final boss was the best one because the two copies were just the same thing. Besides the one with the you having a you just have to grapple over for lightning and stuff like that. Um, but the final boss one was probably my favorite fighting type style he has and stuff like that. So
Yeah, honestly, I love those battles. I think they were good. Like, and
yeah,
honestly, I think again and overall, we could have. I think it would have been better if we did know more about and saw his perspective about what he wanted and what he was doing. Honestly, I think he really did just want to kill Samus. Like that was his objective. I don't think he really had any interest in the green energy or in psychic abilities or anything. Like once he figured out a way he could attack Samus while also powering himself up in that pod and stuff, he was like, all right, fuck it, I'll just do it this way. And he's like, you know, he was sending out the Cybots and stuff like that. So yeah, I think he actually had a good solid presence in this game. And I mean, like in comparison to, you know, like Metroid Prime 1, where you don't see or hear anything from fucking Metroid Prime until the dead ass end of the game, you know? But it works fine in that game. Like I have no complaints, but I'm just saying there's people who are acting like in stuff I've read and stuff that he was a bad villain or he wasn't in it enough. Sure, again, story wise, could have learned more, would have been nice, but I think overall, I like the cadence that we were exposed to him and his specific boss battles. Like they were speckled out throughout the game, sprinkled out in a good, like, at good points. And overall, again, I think it all just contributed to great pacing. It was like, okay, it's just been us or this character, this companion, and then bam, you go to Volt Forge, Silex battle and then
Yeah.
you go out in the desert and you got these other battles. Like I really don't have any complaints about the pacing and the present story of this game and Silex's part in it. I think it was really good. But yeah, when it comes to this, like you were already touching on, sort of the questions that come up regarding what exactly happened in between when they all teleported there and when Samus finally woke up. Like, what was Silex up to exactly? Again, what were his motivations? Like, why did he take over those guardians, the key guardians? Like, what was his ultimate plan there? Did he know Samus was going to go over there and fight them? Like, otherwise, why would he waste his Metroids or Mocktroids on trying to control them? Like, what was his plan and purpose behind that? Why was he at Flare Pool doing a lot of stuff there? Because that's the only place, Scuff, of all the 4 places we go to, that Samus doesn't have to turn on. It's already been turned on by Silex. So clearly he had a great interest there, but we don't really ever learn because we never got the chance to talk to him. He's not gonna talk to Samus. The second
Yeah.
he sees Samus, he tries to kill her. Samus, the homeboy's
Yeah.
crazy. He's a nut job. But yeah, when it comes to the story, this is where I start. The game started losing me a bit, and where I started to, some red flags started to come up because it really does come down to the story of the Lamorne. And I'll let you go first. How much of the Lamorne lore and scans and sort of the story itself that you were learning from those recordings of Shatoya, like how much of it did you engage with? What did you think about their history and sort of how all of it plays into the events of the present day and what you had to do there with them, for them, and all of that stuff, the memory fruit, all that. Like, what did you think about the Lamorne and their great tragedy and all that stuff?
Well, I mean, it's a whole new. It's well, obviously, it's not Chozos, so we have encountered new species, of course. Um, but there wasn't really more. There was no depth. This is just a whole new species that retro maybe kind of like I said, it took a fat reset to this game, and we have not countered any Chozos during Prime 4 whatsoever. We're looking at a whole new um species called Lemorns, and obviously it was a good thing because obviously we're not gonna know if we're just gonna just play the game and t progress the game, but not talk about any lore of the Lemorns, then what's the point of this game, to be real? Because that's why it's better to make cutscenes and get the story progress well with the Lemorns, kind of to understand what they're about, what they do, what happens to them, why do they stink, why they somehow see Sam as the chosen one, and um, yeah, I mean the Lamars are pretty interesting characters. I just didn't think they were. For me personally, they were interesting characters, new species, of course, but I didn't think they were a good like how do I explain it um like it I knew it didn't last long for the Prime series and stuff like that. It was only like a one time thing that Samus encounters with the Lower North Speeds, and we're already
You don't
moved
think
on
they're gonna
already.
make an appearance in any of the maybe 5 and 6 or anything like that?
Well, we don't know. I mean, the question is like I said, we'll see what happens at the end. What happens at the end? But are we though? Like, was Samus's task done? That it's gonna somehow bring back the Lomorns? That's the question that we don't know because obviously that ending just kind of like threw us off. So
Yeah, yeah. And the Lamorne, they're interesting because they are unlike any of the previous species, advanced races that we've dealt with in previous Prime games. So like you said, the Chozo are like, if it was the Chozo, then there's a lot of history there. Like there will be a deeper connection. We know about them. Obviously, they have a close history with Samus. They raised her basically since she was 3, basically from birth. Like there's strong ties there that could have extra emotional weight for the story. Here it was again something where they reset. They've done this before. The Luminoth and Metroid Prime 2, those were a completely new race. But the difference there was they were alive. Like most of them were in hibernation in that one building, but we do see one and we talk to him and we learn directly from him and get requested from him to help with their war that they're fighting with these fucking Ing. So I think
Yeah.
they handled that well. That was cool. The Chozo and those Chozo lore bits that you learn about in Prime 1 are good. I think their lore, that's the thing. I think the lore and stories for all these races in the previous games, even if they were simplified, because you can't, like, they weren't going crazy writing whole books about their history and stuff. You can't do that. But like the lore that was there, it made sense. And like whatever situations that they were involved in and whatever fates befell them, they made sense. Again, this is a thing where it's like the execution, the ideas here are a little different and they wanted to capitalize on them, but I don't think they executed again at a high level doing that. This is the first time where we've had like full-blown cutscenes like this besides Metroid Prime 2 with a living race on a planet Samus is visiting. Like in
Yeah.
Prime 3 with Skytown, for instance, those robots, they used to live there with the Chozo, but then the Chozo left. So you're not really communicating with the people that lived there before. The Brionians on that lava planet in Prime 3, they've basically gone extinct. The ones that are there, any that are left, they've all been poisoned by Phazon, and they were kind of crazy anyways before then when you learn about it in the lore. And their lore is interesting. It's honestly not important to the main story to learn about it, but when you do, you're like, oh, that's interesting, and it works. Um, but the thing with the Lamorne is like, oh man, this is the biggest can of worms, and it's like I don't even know where to start with it. But I will say this, there is a strange thing where like, you know how during the game you come across those statues and it plays a recording and he tells you more about what happened to them in the past and
Oh
stuff?
yeah. Yeah.
Don't you think it's weird that he did that? Don't you think it would have made more sense if he just had those all those recordings, all that information relayed to Samus, like at the Temple of Memory in the beginning or at the top of Chrono Tower instead of in bits and pieces throughout the game like that?
Yeah, that would be yeah, that's kind of fair, I would say.
Because like
Yeah.
James Bond, right, when he's getting his mission briefing, he doesn't just get like little bits and pieces throughout the mission. He gets all of it in a file folder at the beginning, right before it starts, to tell him everything he needs to know about the people, the the threat level, the everybody involved, right? Like you want to get all that information to your person so they know what they're dealing with. So
Yeah.
from a lore perspective, it was strange when you think about it as to why Shatoya put those random statues with those random voicemails basically all across Vuros. But when you're playing it, it worked. I liked it. Like, I liked the way that they spread out those little bits of information about the story, about their history. I thought it was really cool. It was cool to be like, oh, we're going to learn something new right now. You know, like, and things like that. Like, I liked the pacing of it and how it worked.
Yeah.
In terms of actual real logic, it doesn't make sense. And that real logic starts to get kind of weird when you think about them and sort of why they went extinct and how they went extinct. The thing is, though, in the moment, like when I was playing and immediately after, my issues, and I think they're valid. Like I think their lore is is messy, and I think it's flimsy, and I think when you poke and prod at it enough, you start poking holes in it really easily, and that's not good. Like I don't think that's like a complaint you can levy towards any of the previous bits of lore from the previous Prime games. I don't know if I want to saddle you with all the different things that I think are inconsistent or strange and whatever, but one of the big ones is a lot of people, including myself, were perplexed as to why were they spraying green energy on themselves if they didn't know for sure it wasn't going to have a negative effect? Because we learn on multiple recordings that it's the green energy that they sprayed in the sky that when it sprayed on certain Lamorne that had the crystals in them that weren't there from birth, they're artificial, it turned them into the grievers. That's why it's called the Great Tragedy, because those grievers are them.
Yeah.
Basically, they turn zombified, which I think that idea, that premise is cool. It's when you actually get into why they turn into zombies. Like, honestly, we've had plenty of zombie stories in real life in our world and stuff, and a lot of them, the source of the zombie virus is either like one of two things. It's like a mad scientist or whatever, like a rogue virus escaped from a lab and it wasn't intended to be released, but it happened, and it turned a bunch of people into zombies and it just got out of control. Or we just don't know what happened and people just started turning, and that's just kind of it. Like, that's the explanation, and the story's all about sort of how you deal with the fallout of that. The problem with the Lamorne, though, is it's kind of a self-own. They did it to themselves. You know how during the campaign we see the green energy shower that
Yeah.
happens?
Yeah, and Samus gets out there and she's like seeing the like the green, like,
The
I don't
rain.
know. Yeah, the rain. Yeah, she's looking at it, but nothing's phasing her, but it's phasing to the creatures out on the world of Vero, on the planet Vero. So
Yeah, that isn't Silex. Like, that's him just turning it on. That cannon, that green energy shower was happening before. Like, they were doing this to themselves. And when you read the lore originally, they did it to heal the land and try to make things stronger, because that's what it does. It supposedly increases your vitality, your strength, it makes you stronger, and they were trying to do it to make the like better the health of the different animals and stuff, but they also wanted to try to, I think, bring water back and life, and turn Soul Valley, the desert, into an oasis again. So that was primarily the area they were trying to target. But one day when they incorporated the crystals into people, which wasn't there before, they weren't doing that, it turned them into grievers. And I think it's fair when people ask, when they ask, why didn't they do more experiments before doing that? Like, imagine if we started just spraying everybody in America with like some random chemical, bro. And like, we never did experiments or try to figure out what it could do in the long term or something if he kept doing that. Like, because we learn in the campaign that, you know how Shatoya, the main guy we get recordings from, he has that big ass fucking crystal in his head.
yeah,
That's not normal. Only one, that basically like one in like every tens of thousands of Lamorne born in every generation is born with psychic abilities and is born
yeah,
with that crystal in their head. But you know how when you go to the mine and you go to the very bottom and you see some of these crystals out there?
yeah,
Those crystals, when they discovered them, they realized these give people psychic powers. So after the machine age, they tried to transition away from basically using fossil fuels to try to use psychic energy and psychic abilities to do things, so they don't have to use as many
mm,
resources. So they put those crystals they found in the mines into people's foreheads to try and give them psychic abilities and all that too, so that they don't have to use gas anymore to power the bikes and things like that. They wanted to
yeah,
get away from fossil fuels and energy source, dirty energy like that. What they didn't know, though, because again, for some reason they didn't do experiments beforehand, was that when the green energy reacts with those people that have the artificial crystals in their foreheads, it has a dramatic effect on their DNA, and it transformed them, of course, into grievers, and it led to their downfall and demise. And so that's already one of the things where it's like, okay, that's a little bit of a self own. That's lame. But also it gets to like, there's questions about the teleporter. Why didn't they try to like master teleporting or space travel beforehand to try to get off the planet after the tragedy happened? Um, why they felt so bad about fighting and killing grievers, because we read in the scans like the tire and the flying like drone thing, those things you fight out in the
Yeah.
environment, and also the Cybots. All those things were designed to fight Grievers, but they didn't like using them against them because as we saw, the Grievers are just them. They've been transformed, they've been zombified and turned into monsters, but that is their friends and family. So they felt bad about doing it, so they didn't actually really use them all that much to fight back. But the thing is, like at a certain point, bro, like how many zombie movies have you seen where the people are like, you know what? I can't fight. I can't shoot these guys in the head. I love them too much. Those are my fellow man and my fellow friends and family. Just eat me instead. Like that's not what happens, bro. Like
No.
in zombification scenarios, it's like it's sad, it's tragic, but it's like do you just give up and let them take over? Or do you fight back and, put a bullet in them once and for all to this person that you once used to be someone you used to know? And in our scenarios that that we've envisioned in media, the answer is we fight back. For whatever reason though, the Lamorne were like, let's just get pushed to the brink of extinction. Let's like let these grievers continue to hunt us down and kill us until there's literally 13 of us left. And we can do at this point is
Wait.
like teleport to other planets to try and find the chosen
Find
one.
the chosen one. Yep.
And again, on going onto that, piggybacking off the chosen one, if they knew they were getting close to that point, if you're getting down to like the last 10,000 already, I would have been like, hey, this is crisis, emergency mode. We're going to go extinct. I'm making big moves to try and preserve our history like they wanted to do for the chosen one with the memory fruit, right? Why, answer me this, Scuff. Why didn't they just make the memory fruit and give it to at least one of the people that they sent with the master teleporter to the other planets to find the chosen one to plant a tree themselves?
That's a I don't know question for Peter.
Is
Like,
it a good question?
no, it's no. It's like it's a question of I don't know why I didn't think of that type question. Or I don't know why I didn't think of that, basically. Yeah.
It's something they could have done, right?
Yeah.
Instead of
No, yeah.
waiting for the chosen one to come around whenever that happened and do it, they should have.
But have you like gone depth into the lore of why like they waited for a chosen one to do it, or did they, because I feel like maybe this was like a maybe because okay, I may forget what the memory fruit does, but maybe this was a trial and error type vibe basically from these species. Like they're like, hey, we messed up, let's just restart, let's just recast the memory fruit and have the master one to do the solvent for us and restart again basically. I don't know. Maybe I could be wrong though, but yeah.
You mean like they tried doing a memory fruit, but it didn't come out right or something?
No, like, because I'm not sure what the memory fruit does. I just know that the
See,
task.
that's also a problem. We don't, even me, dude, I agree. I'm with you. I was wondering what is so special about this fruit? Like I know that when you read the lore, you actually read that like the tree that it comes from, the big ass tree in Green
Yeah.
Fury, apparently if they pray to it, it remembers their memories and like the things they tell them telepathically and stuff. And so they've been praying to that tree for so long, over like hundreds of thousands of years, right? That the tree itself is kind of like a massive data server, and it's just been storing like their history. Bro, I'm just telling you what it says, all right? Basically that tree is an organic data server. And for whatever reason, however reason, the memory fruit that it can produce apparently is like a hard drive, and it has their complete history in it. That's the
Oh,
importance of the memory fruit.
now here's the question though. For what? For Samus to drop it off and just dips, because that's what Samus does. Once her mission's done, She just flies away, bro.
That's what I'm saying. And that's the thing. Someone else actually pointed this out, and a couple of people have pointed this out, where they it actually doesn't make sense for the memory fruit to be the end game, right? Like for the thing first that the chosen one was supposed to come over here and do, right? Like that's the final mission.
Yeah.
We don't ever actually in the game hear what the actual what do they call it? The prophecy? We don't hear what the actual prophecy said, but but in the world book, which is a completely separate thing, it's canon, but it's not included with the. You don't even get it with the physical version. Like they could have just printed this thing out and put it in there, but there is actually info about the chosen one. So in the world book, we actually do learn not the exact phrasing of the lore of the prophecy, but we get a much better picture of it because I was picking up through the game when he keeps bringing up the prophecy and you read about it. Honestly, bro, they didn't even know if the chosen one was a girl or a boy. Like the prophecy was very vague, but I think what the chosen one was not supposed to be someone that just delivers their fruit and preserves their legacy. According to the world book, we learn more here. It says, here's quote, a hidden treasure. Oh, the psychic crystal. This is about the psychic crystal Samus gets from the other dimension at the beginning of the game. A hidden treasure enshrined in another dimension, a sacred resting space of the Lamorne. It was to be given to the chosen one, who was prophesied to bring salvation from another world when the plague of destruction was about to befall the Lamorne. This is it. I think this is literally the entirety of the prophecy that again, we don't even know where they got the prophecy from, who told them what it was, but this is all of it. The chosen one who was prophesied to bring salvation from another world when the plague of destruction was about to befall the Lamorne. And this is interesting because this prophecy is wrong. This prophecy says this person, this is again like a prediction from the gods or something, is supposed to bring salvation when the plague of destruction was about to befall the Lamorne. So they were operating on the idea that before they actually were going to get killed off, like even at their darkest moment when there was only 13, according to the prophecy, they were sure that someone from another world was going to come to save them before they fell. Crazy enough, that didn't happen. I think the prophecy, the one that they were hinging on the entire time, the one that they, at the end of their days, were putting all their eggs into the basket of, was one where they thought that they were going to be saved. Somehow somebody else was going to come here and figure out how to reverse the curse that turned them all into grievers and actually, reverse their fate so that they didn't actually go extinct. That was the real mission. The reason we are seeing these recordings of Shatoya and he's telling us about the memory fruit is because this is a new mission that he came up with. That's not the prophecy. He's like, yo, you were supposed to come here before we died off, but you didn't. So if you're seeing this message now, that means I'm not here anymore. I'm dead. I can't talk to you myself anymore. So instead of saving us, literally, just preserve our memory. Take the memory fruit from the tree. The guardians, the key guardians will work with you. They'll give you the keys. You just got to collect some crystals, put them in the altar. You'll get the fruit. You get the keys, and you can go and please just plant a tree in our memory. That's the mission, but that's not the prophecy. But that's the thing. That's not made clear in the game. So in the game, like you said, we were all kind of just going like, why the fuck do they give so much of a damn about this fucking fruit? Like, why is this thing so like, and like by the end of the game, you're wondering, because like we'll go into it from here. At the end, you're like, okay, so Samus didn't beat Sylix. She didn't save Silex, like he's still evil, he's still alive, and she didn't save any of these of the Galactic Federation companions that helped her during her journey. All she did was save this fucking fruit and plant a tree. And that left a sour taste in my mouth.
Uh,
That all that sacrifice, all that was done for a fucking tree. You know? And that's what I was sitting with at that moment at the end of the game. That's how I was understanding the entirety of the events of the story and the lore and what had just happened. I hated that ending. I hated it so much. There's nothing about it that I liked. And I died at the end of at the end because I didn't press the button. I was convinced that a cutscene was gonna play, right? Like she was gonna shoot her cannon, or you know, something was gonna happen, and they were gonna make it onto the teleporter with her and escape. There was no way she was gonna leave him behind. Samus wouldn't do that, but she did.
you know, it's funny too. During the progressions of like the cutscenes with the what's his name, Totoya, it looked like from, we don't obviously not gonna see her face expression, but just by her body expression, she looked like she cared for the Lemorns. It was crazy about that, but she just somehow just decides either I die with Silex and my Federations, or just dip and plant the fruit in some other planet.
Dude, like you nailed it. Like it's like, yeah, she cared more about this dead race. They're dead. All of them. There's no one left more than these fucking real people. And like I said, my feelings have actually changed because I now have a new theory as to why these things played out. But I still think this was not the way. So let's go into this. Let's go into the ending. And like you said with Samus, let's actually go into that real quick first, because this all touches on my second biggest issue. Actually, my biggest issue with this game, which is I think they did Samus dirty. Like not just with the ending, with what I learned a new term called character assassination, where they had her do something so unbelievable and so unlike her that it's the equivalent of killing her character. But they also did it during the game, during the entire experience. She has people talking to her the entire time.
No.
We've seen their faces. They're cool people. They're like, you know, they're like, holy shit, it's Samus. You know, they're being nice to her. They're making small talk. These aren't the kind of conversations that we were having in Primes 2 and 3. And I think that's part of the problem, is they kind of painted themselves into a corner. Because I like, honestly, at no point during Prime 2 and 3, dude, did I ever feel like it was weird that Samus wasn't talking. Because most of the time people were really just like talking at her, right? Like giving her information or stating things that she didn't need to respond to, right? Like they retro crafted the dialogue in a way that made it where it wasn't weird at all when she wouldn't respond, especially in 3 where there was a lot of dialogue. Because again, it wasn't like there was a back and forth that was supposed to be had. She
No,
was just
yeah, yeah.
she was being told, like, again, the Aurora unit was just kind of telling her what to do. And then
Yeah.
like the hunters, when they're in the elevator, they're kind of just talking to each other, and then like one of them goes like, huh, but you know, right, Samus, we're the heroes, we never lose, right? And then right before she gets the answer, they get to the top, and then they just do things. Classic Retro made fantastic decisions and expertly handled Samus being a silent character. At honestly, at no point during 2, 3, or 1 did I ever find it weird that she didn't say anything. That's not the case with Prime 4. The entire time from start to finish, I was like, what the fuck is happening? Why? Because I'm coming off of the manga, and in the manga, and also in other games too, we've referenced already, she talks. She's a human being. She actually has a personality. And it's a good one, especially in the manga. I read that for the first time recently. I love everything about it, including her character. She has so much character in that game. She's compassionate, but she's strong. She's funny, but she's stoic. She's perfect. She's one of my favorite video game characters. I hated her in this game. All these people are so cool and they're getting they're stranded. Like, what are they going to do? What else are they going to do but talk to each other? So there's literally, they'll have cutscenes of them talking back at the base, right? The different characters with each other. And they
Yeah.
were awesome. And of course, there's the one character, she's literally a fangirl. She's over here, like, basically trying to get her autograph and stuff. And Samus looks like a complete asshole, standing there just staring at them, not responding to them ever. That doesn't make her cool. There's nothing cool about that. What are they doing? Like, I get it. I think they're afraid. Like, obviously, someone's afraid. I don't know if it's Retro. I don't know if it's Nintendo. I don't know if it's both. But this is not the way. If this is what the new trilogy is going to be like, where there's way heavier character development and character involvement, especially between Samus and others, it's got to be different. She has to talk. And I'm not talking about like she has to be like, oh, yeah, girlfriend. Like she has to be like sassy or anything. She could be like super stoic still. She could just be super dry, like just responding blankly. Like you said with the robot. The robot, and there's literally a robot AI in this game that is part of the team. The robot has more personality and dialogue than Samus. Does
Yeah.
that make sense? No,
Yeah.
not to me. But maybe I'm overreacting, Scuff. Where are you at when it comes to the characterization of Samus during the game and, of course, at the very end with the big decision and what they made her do?
Ugh. No, I agree with you, Peter. I felt bad too with the characters just being awkwardly talking to her with no fucking response. You know what's funny though? You know what's really funny though? I don't know what it was, but when I was looking at her body expression, her body pose was like, is it just me or the way she's standing? She like stands like a. I know she's a girl, but I'm saying what I'm saying is though, like the way she stands, she like stands like a girl. You know how like her feet are like very together, her arms are like not like spread out wide open, but like they're just kind of like good wide enough, like the way she's posing, and you just give her, she just gets a nod, and that's about it. Like, but it's just funny because like the way she's standing, it's like it was a very girl pose. But like I said, she's a girl, and I mean I would not think what other pose she could do. But dude, yeah, I yeah, I felt bad for the NPC for the I don't want to say NPCs, but I just felt bad for the main characters of the federations that they dealt with, and obviously that girl, I forgot her name was, but she's
Armstrong.
obviously yeah, she was a big. Is that what her name was? That
That's her last name. Yeah, I forget what her first name is, but the guy kept
oh
calling her Armstrong, so that's just how I
oh
remember
okay,
it.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, she was obviously she's a rookie too, so she was a rookie of the Federation. But yeah, she was a huge fan of Samus, bro. Like huge, like even like she's like, I can't look at the morph ball, this and that. Like oh look at this, she could do this and that. Like dude, and then my girl is over here just doing her job, bro. Obviously quiet and stuff like that.
Like, honestly, it felt like she was annoyed with them or something. Like, she's like, oh, God, another one. Because she's like over here just again, like not being social or like, that's the thing. Like, when you read the manga and you see her in the other games and specifically like Fusion and stuff, you're like, she should be the coolest person in any room she's in. She's been on so many adventures. She probably has so many stories to tell, so much wisdom that she's gained over these years of doing the craziest shit, seeing the craziest shit. She should be the leader of that group. She should have been coaching them. She should have been giving. Remember in the scene when fucking in the mine, when Sarge sacrifices himself to
Yeah,
save Armstrong and Samus, and fucking Armstrong's like basically crying, and Samus says nothing.
yeah, I remember that part.
I'm like, dude, this is painful because I like this character a lot. And it felt like it wasn't her. Like, it did not feel like a good characterization of her at all. And I think the big thing that's a little thing that's different from this game from the others is her visor. You mentioned it. In this game, it is opaque all the time, meaning you
Yeah,
can't see through it.
you can't
But
see
in
through it.
Primes 1, 2, and 3, you can in most of the cutscenes. You can see the person underneath. And sure, it's just her eyes, but it turns out it makes a big difference, dude. When you can see her looking, at things, at people, and then while she's nodding, she's also like, making facial expressions too. It actually goes a long way. And honestly, it's to the degree where I wouldn't be surprised, again, like a young generation, someone playing Metroid for the first time, if by the end of this game, they thought Samus was an actual robot. Because she gives no indication otherwise that there's actually a human underneath. That's how bad it was for me, dude. I was
What like a good meme for it? Oh, it would have been Samus X as a character in Metroid Prime 4.
even that motherfucker got more personality because you can see the eyes. They're scary as fuck. But
That's
you
scary.
know,
Bro, dude, I every time I see her, bro, I get scared, bro, hard. I don't know why. I get scared. That was like my hardest fear of Samus Metroid Fusion in that game, bro. If I see her, I either fucking run or I fucking die. It was one of those two.
yeah, and it's just I spent like this franchise, this character has been a part of my life for such a long time, and it's just this was the most painful part of this game for
Like,
me.
bro, like even Link doesn't speak. He still speaks to the characters, bro. Even though
Like,
we're not gonna hear it, but he still speaks to them.
yeah, you when you pick the dialogue, those are his words.
Yeah.
And like he also makes faces too, right? Like when he's like he gets surprised or like he's cooking and he's all smiling and stuff, or when he's of course fighting, you can see him, he's like he looks angry and stuff like that. Like they give him character. I still wish honestly he would talk too. Because that was a problem for me in Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. Where like in the
Yeah.
cutscenes again, where he's with these people that are talking to him and he's not saying anything. I'm like, oh my god, man, we gotta I don't know. And that's the thing with Samus, they have done that. Freaking Dread. She talks for the first time in Dread. And that's a recent game. Why the fuck did they take a step backwards from that? Where they turned her personality down to like -3. It doesn't make sense, man. And I'm like, that was just the real big sticking point. And then the to cap it all off was the ending where like you said, where by the end of the game, we should have like these questions with like the Lamorne and Silex even and like Samus and like honestly the ending could have fixed this and made this game like a 9 out of 10 for me if they had addressed all these issues. They could have done it all in one fell swoop. Silex, we could have gotten a cutscene that showed sort of what he was doing in the beginning when Samus was still asleep or getting her feet under her. Like we could have learned about that. We could have of course, Samus, she could have just had a random piece of dialogue at the end, bro. Like, even if it was just like the word no or something, right? Like, when she's fighting, like something would have been everything. And then, of course, the lore, the Lamorne, like some of it getting a little bit expanded on more, that could have helped. But the big one is the ending itself and the decision. Like, I'm telling you, it didn't have to be this way. But the thing is, I have a theory as to why it was this way. But even then, it doesn't it doesn't excuse it. I still don't think it had to. But I think they went there for a specific lore reason that I don't know if I want to get into it now because it goes deep into all the actual Lamorne stuff and why I think their fate turned out the way it did and the sort of larger allegory they serve. But bro, I'm telling you, like when you're standing there and she's ready to press the button and she doesn't, tell me that's not more than enough time for her to fire the psychic charge beam that moves in slow motion so that she could hit
Yeah.
Silex.
Yeah.
If she does that, Silex gets knocked back and then that gives the Federation soldiers enough time to try and make it to the teleporter, right?
Yeah.
Like even there with the ending that they did come up with, there was an opportunity. There was a chance to tweak it a little bit so that things could have turned out the way that they should have turned out. There's people who were like defending it like it had to be like that, like it's set in stone. I'm like, yo, dumbass. They could have written any ending they wanted to. It didn't have to be this way. And I just came up with an alternative right now. And like, you know how Miles, he was on the floor and he couldn't like really stand up anymore because he got
Yeah.
shot. Grapple lasso, just grapple lasso him, pull him in. You know what I'm saying? Like these things are right
Yeah.
there. But instead, what we got, she stands there. She's just standing there with her hand on the thing, just like, oh gosh, I really don't want to press it, but I'm like, why is she just fucking standing there? Like, it's a dumb ending, bro. It's bad. It's bad. And that's it. That's all I gotta say about it. It's fucking bad. Like you said, the end of it was like this super sad song, and it's just showing her planting the fucking tree and just dipping.
Yeah.
What was your response and like your emotions throughout sort of the very end of the game there? Play it back for me.
Well, uh,
Because you can see mine. I'm actually gonna post my streams. Like I recorded everything, so you'll get my full fucking unbelievable like reaction to it.
no, I mean, I'm gonna be in that same situation with you, Peter. I'm pretty sure you had questions, bro. Questions about what happened in the end, dude. Dude, and and I know I didn't want it to do the full 100%, and I was crossing my fingers that I hope there was no like an additional cutscene, but sadly there was not. It was only the same cutscene with one modification. That was it. But either way, there was still no good or bad. There was still the same bad ending or the good ending. Well, like, you can't say the bad ending because essentially you're just fucking dead. You have to redo it again, basically. But we just had that same option just to fucking leave the place of Lemorne and just leave our Federation with the best help that they give to Samus, and Samus says later, dudes, and just fucking dipped and just decides to finish the favor of Lemorne's task mission and just proceeds to move on. I I like I said, I went straight to Jake. I'm like, I think there's a fifth one. There's no way it should not end like this. But yeah, I was very disappointed the way it ended it, and obviously very questionable. Like, why did they do this? Is this gonna continue? Am I gonna see them still, or what's gonna happen? And yeah, it was obviously that's why I couldn't I couldn't give the ending something because it was terrible. It was really bad.
And that's the thing you're saying. You brought up a good point, which is like they could have forced this ending into existence to sort of lead into another game. I'm saying no. Like I like some people, you know how like in Prime 3, the hunters are turned evil and they become the bosses.
Yeah.
Some people are saying, rightfully so, that I think that the same thing's gonna happen to them. Like he's gonna use Metroids on them to fuse and turn them into bad guys. I don't know if that would make them good bosses anyways, because they are still just like regular people. But I do think this isn't the last that we see of them. I don't think he just straight up kills them all the second that Samus teleports out of there. Like they have a reason that they wanted to keep their fates a mystery and not just have them get the happy ending because it does lead into 5. But I say even then that's not a good reason to kill Samus's character like that. Like you said, she literally just chose to dip. If it was me, I would have been I would have made the controversial choice, the selfish choice and stayed behind to try and help them and bring as many back, even if it means killing us all in the explosion of the master teleporter. You know, cuz that's sort of supposed to be like the main reason why it's a good thing she did go because the teleporter was going to explode if she didn't. So they're like, well, does everybody die? Is that what you want? Instead of her saving them in a way and herself? I'm like, again, no, this didn't have to be the way the ending worked out. A classic thing in Metroid games is the timer. You know, like the self destruct sequence where they add like a little
No.
timer and
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
They could have done that here where it's like, oh
Yeah.
shit, this thing's gonna explode. Hurry, you have to fire this one shot perfectly. there you go. You know, like there, you have a good ending. But I think, like you said, they kind of maybe wanted to end it this way so they have something to hang on to and explore more in Prime 5 because we saw with Silex, like honestly, I don't know the answer. We just know that Silex can open portals. Like
Yeah.
he could travel through space. I don't know. I don't know why. Maybe it's cuz when he went into the healing pod, it gave him extra psychic power. Maybe he got his own psychic crystal in the mines and he put it in his real forehead so he couldn't see it cuz it's not on his helmet. I don't know. There's a lot of questions still. And that's normal. You know, for Metroid, like Prime 1 didn't answer all the questions about the nature of Metroid Prime and the Leviathan Seed and Phazon. We learned about those things over the course of 3 games. But the thing is that never came at the cost of the immediate experience. The ending of Prime 1 is a good ending. It's a kind of a happy ending and stuff. You don't need the other games to sort of fix it or finish that ending. It's the same with Prime 2. It's a good ending. She's mission complete. And then of course Prime 3 is the ending of everything and that's a freaking fantastic one. This is the first Metroid game where we had a legitimately dark bad ending be the canonical one. And it just doesn't work. I don't like again, I think it's that thing where it's like they wanted to do something different. They had an interesting idea, they didn't find an ingenious way to pull it off expertly,
Yeah.
and it doesn't work. Same with Samus. Maybe they were like, well, what if we tried making it so like she's completely silent when she shouldn't be? It doesn't work. And it's too bad because, like we said, the voice acting otherwise is great. Everybody, even Silex, is great. The little bits of dialogue he gets. And that's just where it gets me, where it's like that's where the whole thing fell apart was at the very end of the game where it's like, all right, we got all these loose threads, right, these questions, all these things that I'm ready to see get tied up and into a nice little bow on this package of fun that I just had, and it didn't. And in fact it shit the bed at the end because that was the character assassination 101. That was terrible.
Yeah.
So it's just like I really did up until like the Great Minds and then getting the mech and stuff, like right up until the end. I'm like, this is a fucking 9 out of 10, dude. I had a blast. I loved everything. But there were these questions where I'm like, these things are nagging at me. They're poking at me, but the ending could fix it. The ending can address it all. And it didn't. And it just sits as this really strange conflicting experience that has a lot of good things going for it, but it also has some really bad things that I can't say in my assessment of the previous 3 games. They're perfect. I'll keep saying it again and again. I think they're perfect games. They have no issues. This one has issues. Um, but in terms of the let's go. Let's just wrap it up. I don't want to get into the whole Lamorne theory and stuff like that. Maybe we can do it another time, or I plan to make a video on it, but I was gonna bring it up here, but we've gone on long enough. So sort of like, what would you say are your main negatives of the experience, both just in any element, gameplay or story or anything like really specific, and then sort of what are your sort of high points and very strongest elements to wrap it all up?
Um, dude, this game, I mean, overall, this game was fun. It was really fun to play. I'll say that. Um, I already said this so many times, and I'm gonna say it again, that Retro decides to not put its effort into this. Not saying not, but didn't put good efforts into this game. Um,
They didn't find the perfect answers to the problems they wanted to.
yeah, yeah. I don't know what happened the past 3 games. They tore it up. These are good games. Prime 4 just came back. Good. It was cool. Like I'm telling you, like we were talking about where as we're old, as the technology advances, where have higher advanced devices with better graphics. I knew I was expecting to have a better Samus graphics gameplay sooner or later. But that whole in terms of like the basic gameplays mechanics for Samus was obviously common sense. I would not doubt that there would be some changes. Like I did expect her morph ball, her beam, elementals, all that kind of stuff. The only disappointment I missed was the visor. The only thing that I wish they could have done is use her psychic abilities with boss like features, like more features, I would say, not just like just her control beam and stuff like that. Like I wish there was more into it, like more lassos, more spider balls or something that has to do with it. Like I know Prime 2 that you have to do with the spider ball with the use a spider ball for it. Um, Desert wise, open world question mark. You know, okay. You know what, dude? Let me say this. I wish if there was like okay, I don't want to try to make it too long because I just thought it would be a cool feature that
Oh,
Retro could have
I'm
done
good to go. You can keep going. I'm not tired. You're
if
good.
the game if the game is open world because I can't say it is. It's not an open world.
No, it's not.
If
It's not open
if
world.
it is an open world, there's a specific ability that I would want in Samus. Can you guess what it is?
Speed boost.
And yes, speed boost. 100%. Speed boost would have been awesome with the open world game in it, dude. It would have been insanely good. Speed boost was, dude, speed boost and 2D and set Metroids were fun. I love them so much. It This is my favorite ability. Like out of all like her basic mechanics, speed boost was my favorite. Like I love speed boost. If they could have made a open like a true open world, speed boost would have been 100% in this game. It would have been super fun. It would have been super like usable so many times like of terms like doing wall jumping. I know that's part of like the fuck what do you call it? The um
Screw attack?
God, screw attack. Yeah, I always keep saying spike ball or something
Spin
like that or
jump?
spike yeah, spin jump whatever. But I know like wall jump. I know like some of the wall jumping is part of it in Dread, but most of it it's mostly just her screw attack does most of the job. But dude, speed boost would have been so much fun in this if it was truly an open world game. It would have been so fun. I would have not know how, but if Retro somehow ace it, this game would have been so much fun, dude. I like that would be the coolest feature they could have done if the game was an open world.
Ah, why did you do this? You brought up a good point I totally forgot, which is gameplay mechanics that new gameplay mechanics we didn't see, but I was expecting. And bro, I'm talking like in my preview thing, I was saying I was getting Doom vibes from the trailers. I was expecting this game to be a lot crazier when it comes to the combat. I was expecting like a shotgun type weapon and also melee stuff.
Oh
Like
yeah, that would
I'm
have
not
been
talking
fun
about like
too.
full like a battle axe or anything like that, but you know
Yeah,
like in Dread she can slap shit.
yeah,
She can counter and stuff.
yeah.
I
Oh, like
figured
the counter too. Yeah, counter would be like another cool little feature on there.
just like really cool close combat type stuff because it happened in this game where the grievers they're just swarming you and they were getting all up in my face. I'm like, fuck,
Like,
they're
dude, if we were got to a point like yeah, if a Grievous like jumped on you, like you know in Metroid Prime 3, what's her name again? That you had to fight? That she caught
Gandrada.
yeah, she jumps on you and you have to shake you have to shake your Wii and nunchuck, dude. I was getting annoyed by that, but it was fun though because like that's what she does. She steals your life energy from jumping on you and shit like that. So you have to wiggle yourself off. Maybe something like I want to say nothing like that, but like spam button or something like that too. Use your power beam or whatever type of sidekick or just a general mechanic power beam to your use of it, stuff like that.
I'll tell you what
That would
it
have been
could have
cool.
been. Could have been super missile destruction. Like a
Yeah.
sort of like you can't shoot the missile far, but it'll pop right in front of you. Kind of like it self ignites itself right in your arm cannon. There you go. Enemy gets too close, you just stick your fucking arm cannon in their chest. Bam! Just pop off a super missile right there. There's your shoddy thing. You know, like some crazy new mechanics to kind of mix things up. And also the grapple lasso is right there. You know, like you just brought up a great point that I totally forgot about, which was I was also thinking about Speed Booster. And it first started with the open world exploration potential, where you could use it to literally just fly across the desert or run across or whatever. But what about in combat? And the answer is I think it would work great. So the way I would implement it, if they implemented Speed Booster, is not to have it be something you can activate all the time. It would be like an open world elements and areas. But when you're not there, the way you would use it is sort of like in close combat. You know how she has the grapple lasso? So if she whips somebody, she can then use Speed Booster to like shoulder bash them, to like run into them.
That'd be cool. Yeah,
I
that'd be
mean,
cool.
that's crazy, right? For like Samus.
Yeah.
But like, come on, imagine like you whip them from far away, you lock them in place, and then boom, just like Wario shoulder bash into them at high speed. Bro, that's like insta kill right there, you
Yeah.
know? Or even the other way around with the grapple lasso, where instead of just ripping pieces off, you could just pull people to you because this one's like sidekick, so it could retract and stuff on its own. It's not an actual like physical whip. You can get them and then just pull them right to you. Boom, shotgun blast. There you go. You know, like those were kind of one, like I was hoping at least one of those things would make it into the game. At the very least, melee, just counter type stuff. But we didn't get that either. So it was like again, the returning gameplay mechanics still felt great. Were still cool, but they didn't really get goofy with sort of new abilities or um, combat options like I thought they were going to, and actually played it even safer because they just brought back the elemental stuff from Prime 1. But yeah,
Yeah.
thank you for reminding me. That was something I wanted to mention, but I totally forgot to because I was pissed. And I was thinking about Samus and her character and stuff. Um, but yeah, did you have any other final thoughts on your positives and negatives?
Um. Like obviously, like I'm just gonna say, like the story wise was just terrible. Like that's the only thing I have to say, honestly. And like I said,
Whoa,
psychic.
terrible. What part of the story?
No, 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 no. The ending, of course. I would say my bad.
Oh,
The
okay.
just yeah, yeah. Sorry, the ending. No, but like I said, the psychic abilities could have been more used into like something with bosses. I know like this lasso was like a very useful thing with the bots that have the shields on it. You use it to get rid of them and stuff like that. Um, you know, been a cool thing too. If they would have brought back the grapple voltage and kind of like mess with their energy source because they're always electronic, that'd be a cool thing too if you think about it. Because remember when we use electric they did say that oh use these on bots. They have a very their weakness to it basically and stuff like that.
No, you're right. That's a good point. I didn't even think of that. Yeah, they're all
Yeah,
electricity and stuff.
yeah.
Ah, that's great.
But I know that like I said, like more abilities to use on ads and bosses, I would say. Um could have been used more on. I mean, it was general. Like it was very general through all like the four maps that they we used. So I'm not complaining about that. Um, but I know that we want to wrap it up. But there is that
No, you're
question
good. You're
that
good. I just
there
didn't
is
want
that
to
question.
keep you
There
up
is
too
that
long.
question. There is that question that you have on the ending of the game was called the better alternatives or adjustment to it. I have a crazy like if Retro could have done this, this would have been perfect. So here's my take. I wish Prime 4 was not. If there was a better alternative, there would have been two parts. And I'm not going to talk about part one, part two. I would say this is still Prime 4, but we're going to have Prime 5 as well. And here's why. This is my type of. This is my. If Retro gave me the pencil and paper to do this, this is how I would do it. Since we already know that we were getting the introduction of Silex already after Prime 3, I wish they could have done. This is what they could have done. Planet Virus was not a thing yet. There's no and Prime 4 Planet Virus was not a thing. This is what I would think of. I'm not sure what can I do in terms of setting plot wise, but here's my take. I think Salix would Prime 4 should have been a good character. Salix would have been a good introduction character of Prime 4. And by mean like that, like you know him Prime 1, Prime 2, and Prime 3 that well essentially Prime 1 was just the startup of the game and after the credits we got the starting of Dark Samus and Dark Samus was there for a good two more games and stuff like that. Silex could have been a good option for it with Prime 4 and Prime 5. Prime 4, obviously the graphics we have now, the if we have the Federation characters still, if it was not Planet Veros, but we have the setting of Prime 3 as Prime 4. But with Silex as a main antagonist, like he goes to different planets and he does something to them. And obviously Samus just chases Silex and stuff like that. Until the very point like we get to the final part of this is where Prime 5 comes in, and this is Planet Veros. This is where Silex looks for this teleport thing, and then this is how the adjustments could have been different if or not say like yeah, Silex somehow gets the teleporter to Planet Veros and does something to Planet Veros as well. And then Samus does a similar situation, how like in Prime 3 with the Leviathan Sea to, well, not like that, but like something different, but something similar to like that to find a way to teleport to Planet Veros and does the conflicts of what happened to the Lamorns and stuff like that. But at the same time, we have the Federation still come with us still. Like there are like companioned with the Federation people that Samus has worked with. They somehow follow them and stuff like that. So Samus is with the Federation and they're working together to stop Silex and stuff like that. That's my take. This could have been a better alternative, honestly. This could have been a good startup for, like I said, Silex's antagonist to get the feeling of what Silex is. Because, dude, when we like I know for the people, I had to look at the videos, but when we look at the videos of the doing people doing the hard mode 100%, we didn't really get much of Silex's character buildup. We just see him. He wants a specific weapon that he's not following orders from his higher commands and telling his people to get this weapon. And next thing you know, his ass did not listen. His crew died from this fucking crazy ass explosion that just wiped out the good chunk of the Federation. And next thing you know, Samus just destroys the shit out of it. And then obviously this is how um, Silex turns to Silex and hates Samus so much and stuff like that. This would have been a good startup right here to start like a Prime 3 with Prime 4 settings, but it's Silex's build up basically. And then Prime 5, this is where Silex finds something, a teleport to Little More or to Planet Veros, and then this is how the chase to Silex what do you call it? Saga begins or something like that. That would have been a cool like alternative way for the Prime series. And that's what I'm saying. Like I'm not saying part one, part two. There's no such thing as part one, part two. But part one is Prime 4 and part two is Prime 5, and then whatever they could go on with it. That would have been my better alternatives right there.
You just spit. Let me read you this. This is the prologue from the game itself. Before you start. Quote, by controlling officer class individuals of the space pirates via the Metroids, Silex built a new army for himself and orchestrated attacks on the Galactic Federation's research centers, one after another. His aim was to acquire new technologies and weapons to strengthen his army and himself, and he was able to upgrade his own battlesuit to a nanosuit of the latest model.
Bro, you see what I'm saying? This would have been a good startup for Prime 4. Just a startup of Silex build, starting his own army and stuff like that. Go to planets of fixing the conflicts that Silex and space pirates are doing. We'll still get the Metroids. And then from there, if the end, somehow Silex used the teleport with partial Metroids, and this is how he starts to conflicts with the
Like
bosses
it's the
in the
beginning of Prime 4. Like
yeah,
he gets to Tanamar
yeah.
and he finds the artifact.
Yeah, like the whole white, like the whole point. Like I'm saying, there's no Veros. It's just planet hopping with starting from the Federation base. We see Solex. Okay, this is an issue. This guy's trying to get weapons, Metroids, trying to start an army because obviously the main conflict of this is he hates Samus. That's the whole point. And then now maybe he's trying to get something better out of it. He wants something stronger. Boom, goes to different planets. Samus doing the planet hopping, fixing the issues, the whole typical like Metroid gameplays, and then and it's not gonna be just Silex. Like we're also like gonna deal with bosses still, like that,
Oh my god, what if he recruits the other hunters from Prime Hunters and they're the
dude,
bosses?
dude, dude, and then no, think of this. What if he
They're
he
like his
actually
generals.
they're like his general, but this is for Prime 5. This is what happens in Planet Veros. There are the elemental bosses instead of the dude. I'm just saying, bro. I'm
Oh,
just saying, bro.
hey, that could still happen. We could see the other hunters in Prime 5 or 6 cuz he
And
is
dude,
building an army.
I mean, I'm pretty
Oh,
sure you
that's so
know.
good.
I'm pretty sure you know. But you know that suit that Salix is wearing is for Samus, right?
For Samus. The blue one?
Yes. Yes. Supposedly, I don't know where I saw like from end credits from either from Hunt. I don't know where. I don't know who or what I got it from. I don't know if it's true. I don't know if it's excuse me, legit. Supposedly, that suit was an upgraded suit for Samus, but somehow Salix stole that suit.
Damn. So that's why he's so strong now.
Yeah, that's how he gets this teleport powers, the neat, cool little this morph ball looking thing. Like, dude,
Well, he had
but
that in
dude,
Prime Hunters, like during the
yeah,
game. So he might have,
yeah,
that just is like kind of, all the hunters have like a morph ball mode in that game.
yeah. But dude, like, this is what I'm saying. Like, this is what I'm saying. Like I said, this is why I feel like they didn't put. That's what I'm saying. Like, I'm not saying like they rushed it. I know the game took a while to develop, but like I said, it rushed. It for me, it just feel like it got rushed, and I don't mind like the long wait that we had till then, but this is the if part. This could have happened this type of way and not like this. How it happened to not happen now, like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, ironically, you answered the very first question that I gave you in the part of the editing, the audio that we lost, which was like, so what do you think? Is this the best return to the Prime series, the best scenario? And your answer now is definitely no. And you have a way better freaking alternative for how this game could have been instead. Like, this shouldn't have been Prime 4. This should have been Prime 5 or maybe even 6 because of the fucking the technology Lemornians have on their planet and stuff. Like, yeah, it
Yeah,
makes total sense. It could have just, yeah, there should have been all that stuff that happened with him attack. Like it says right here, orchestrated attacks on Galactic Federation research centers, one after another. This is Prime 3, like you said, dude. That's perfect. He's over here causing chaos on multiple locations at the same time. And then yeah, like I just floated like he could have recruits of different hunters helping him and they're like the main bosses on each planet. Like no, dude. Ah, you brought up a freaking way perfect alternative, dude. And now it's pissing me off that like in a way, the 18-year wait not worth it cuz we didn't get the best possible version of Prime 4 that we could have got. This would have been it right here. Like that's crazy. No, you're right. That's a fantastic idea. That's a fantastic idea. And yeah, 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 it's always gonna be
obviously
that.
that's why I'm bringing up this Salix backstory, the good backstory, because there wasn't really no
It wasn't
story.
a good
Maybe
backstory.
it was this for me. This was just like a prologue to Salix, dog. This is how like Salix started or something like that. Like that's what I'm saying. Like this would have been good if it was like this kind of alternative. We could have had a full on like Prime 3, Prime 4 setting, but a beginning of Salix with the start. Like I said, like when the way I saw this, because I know Prime 1 was just like the beginning, but like essentially it did kind of start Dark Samus's saga. We had to deal with
Exactly.
Dark Samus with Prime 2 and Prime 3. That's the crazy part is that I didn't think they had to fight Dark Samus still again in Prime 3, but we officially ended her. And now, at the end of Prime 3, we see Silex, the beginning or at the end of the game. And then this is where carries Prime 4. And this is what could have start right here. A beginning antagonist character, Silex, to understand what this character is about, why he hates Samus, what is his main goal. And then, boom, right there, doing the daily. bounty hunter job, and then from there, this is where Silex get the ultimate weapon, teleports to planet Veros for the next Prime game, and then boom, like, dude, that would have been perfect, bro.
Nah, yeah, you nailed it. You freaking nailed it, man.
And how much would have bet, Peter? I'm not saying they don't. I didn't say they. I don't know if they do. How much would have bet that Retro does have that story, bro, and decide to not to do it? How much you want to bet that's Retro out there? Some Arthur has that story, dude, and decides not to do that.
Yeah, we'll never know. We'll
We'll never
find out
know.
in 20 years when they release another art book and it has all the details like in the one that just came out. That one has actually some, behind the scenes info on like why they did things the way they did and what they didn't do but wanted to do. No, this is how Nintendo operates. Like unless they do those creator voices where they just interview the developers and stuff and get the answers they want, they're not going to air their dirty laundry like that and be like, this is why this game failed or why these bad ideas were there in the first place. Like they would never do that. And if they do, like I've seen videos on YouTube come up of like old retro employees
Oh,
doing
yeah,
interviews, right? You
yeah,
seen those?
yeah.
And they're like,
No,
yeah, go ahead.
and then Peter, to do the last Prime Four will be in the final.
Bro, don't cook so hard that it just disappoints me when the next game
Prime
sucks
Four
again.
Prime 4 will be the final phase of planet hopping, and then this is where Prime 5 or Prime 6 of Planet Veros will be the true and legit open world game, dude. Like from there. That would have been perfect, dude. And like they really they see the after 17 years, like, okay, let's try one more like setting plot of Prime 3 to Prime 4 with Salix's build up, and then let's do it. I know it takes a while to understand what open world is, but dude, they gotta, if the new game of Prime 5, Prime 6 is an open world, that's how that's where they need to do open world games right there.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the biggest complaints that I saw time and time again when reading for this game was that people felt it was too linear. Like they were straight up comparing the maps for each of the areas compared to the maps of the old games. And like the old games, they're like spider webs, right? Like there's all these paths. They connect to each other, they branch out in weird ways. And in this game, it's like a lot of straight lines, right? And I think while their idea of an open world, it's tough, man. I don't know how you do an open world like Zelda and still make it a Metroidvania. This game is more like Zelda actually than a Metroidvania in the way it's designed, where each place is kind of like a dungeon, like a
No,
Zelda
you think
dungeon.
about it, you know what this game would be remind you of in the Zelda perspective? Twilight Princess, but
Yes,
without um
the
the alternate,
spinner.
yeah, the
Oh,
alternate
no,
area.
I'm talking about the spinner thing. Link
The
rides on.
no, the alternate area that, Edna uses to, like,
Oh, the
uh,
Twilight Realm.
oh, the Twilight Realm. There you go. Yeah,
That's
just without the
right.
Twilight Realm. Yeah,
Yeah,
if you
that's
think about
right.
it, it's literally just Twilight Princess, just without the Twilight Realm, basically. Because you're going to destinations and boom, dungeon build. Same thing with Prime 4. You're going to the area, boom, you're already not a dungeon, but you're in a self map already. No teleport, no nothing. You're just there, and then boom, you have to get out again. Same thing with Twilight Princess. You have to get out and go to different locations and stuff like that.
Honestly, the way I think you satiate fans of the classic or true Metroidvania design, where it's like you have total freedom, you can go any direction. There's still some limits and stuff because of the powers and all that. Like, I think the way is like a sort of an open world where it's like, imagine if we had the same map we have now, but instead of the open desert, you start at the center where the tower is, Chrono Tower, but there is no vehicles and stuff, but instead there's like multiple paths that you can go on. And any one is
Yeah,
the right one. But there's still like, it's kind of like narrow columns and stuff. I'm not talking about like Breath of the Wild, like open air. But like you have the freedom to go in any direction, and any direction is okay because it's the right direction.
yeah.
But it's still like tight, like a Metroidvania where you still had the like the tight labyrinth design. I think that is the sweet spot that would make fans of Metroidvanias happy, and those of us who are like ready for them to go into an open world direction. And the at the core of open world design is the freedom of choice, or the at least in the Zelda games. I started with the Gerudo Desert in Metroid or Breath of the Wild. Where was the first place you went to?
It was Gerudo.
Oh, okay. Well, that's not a good example then. Well, what about
And I
Tears? Huh? What about Tears? I went to the castle. I went all the way down to the bottom. What about you?
wait, you did?
That was the first thing I did. Bro, it's a
Okay, but
big hole. Why couldn't I?
okay. But you actually did it the first thing, or you did it with the paraglider? Because I tried it without the paraglider, and I fucking
Oh, you didn't go get it first?
no, I went straight to it. I'm like, oh shit, I forgot. I was mid falling. I'm like, oh shit, my paraglider. And it just links dies. It's just funny though.
Oh my
But
god.
no.
Well, what I'm trying to say. Okay, well, do you remember where
Well,
you first went?
it did say to go to Rita Village, so I just went straight to Rita Village. I'm like, all right, cool.
And that's the thing. We both made the right decision because the game doesn't, it really sticks and follows through on that open world design. Any direction is the right direction, except
Can
when
you
you
guess?
die.
Can you guess what game that that is open world that I did not do the main quest and start exploring?
Probably Fallout 3?
Close. Fallout 4.
Oh, I didn't know you played 4. Oh,
Yeah, I
wow.
did play 4. Yeah. Dude, one mission, after that mission, I straight roaming around.
And okay, do you like it? Just real quick.
It was
Was it
fun because that was my first it was my first actual open world game. Cause I think it is open world game, I would say. But yeah, I mean,
because it's
I
coming
literally
out on
just
Switch too, and I'm like, hey man, it looks kind of ass, but if it's fun, I'll try it.
I mean, it's cool. I mean, there's no like links or anything like that. It was just another Fallout game. Typical startup. But yeah, I literally just started the game, and after the first mission, fuck this, bro. I'm just gonna just roam out. That's all I did. So
Yeah, I mean, and I think that's the true ethos and spirit of open world. It's not big open deserts with bunch of empty spaces in them. It's being able to play out the events of the game the way you want to. And Metroidvania fans like that. They like when you can sequence break, when you can get abilities earlier than you're supposed to by doing some, tricky platforming or maybe even sometimes some glitches and things like that. They love that stuff because it makes replaying it fun because you can do things differently than you did the first time. And I think that ethos would work. It'd be difficult while still keeping things a Metroidvania, but I definitely think it's more than possible, especially if they're going more into the Zelda direction with like the dungeons and stuff. Yeah, just make it so that you don't have to do them in a specific way. And you can still have a tight story too. Echoes of Wisdom shows that. Like Echoes of Wisdom has the best open world story design of the new Zelda games. It's better than
yeah.
Tears of the Kingdom and Breath of the Wild the way it plays out. Honestly, I think the way they cuz what the way they do it, it's not a big spoiler, but like after you do two dungeons, the story develops. Like changes happen after that. And it doesn't really matter I think which two you do as long as you do two, some stuff happens that changes the world a bit. And that was a good move. We didn't see that in Breath of the Wild or Tears of the Kingdom. I don't think I explained it well. But basically, I think they've cracked the code. And now all we need is Metroid to figure it out and apply it to their game and do it well. But that's the thing I'm worried about, Scuff. Like you said, the way you're putting it is not the way I would put it, but I keep coming back to the idea of just a lack of expertise, I would say, or chemistry, or Riz, or like Juju. Like they're missing that special sauce. What is it called to implement these ideas to their fullest potential and get the
Yeah.
best results. Like that's all it is. And hopefully I'm wrong. And this game was just a product of this fucked up development cycle where they inherited this shattered piece of a game and had to piece it back together with whatever was there already. And maybe with Prime 5, they are starting from scratch and they get to make the game they want to make. But also, I don't know if you heard this, the guy who's been producing the Metroid Prime games all the way since Prime 1 up until this one, he's retiring. He's leaving Nintendo. Or at least he's not making any more Metroid Prime games. So, whether you like it or not, anyone out there, Metroid Prime's going to be different. Prime 5 is under new management. We
Well,
have
guess
a
what? I am taking that management then.
Silex will have a mohawk on his helmet. No, I don't know.
It'll start shredding with the guitar and stuff like that.
All right, so riddle me this, Riddler. You came up with a good alternative for what Prime 4 could have, and I think now that I've heard it, should have been. Where do you think they can go from here that would be good and cool? Do you have any theories or ideas for where they go from here to, straighten things out and kind of make this an exciting trilogy again? Because
Well, that's part.
they already, I already floated the idea of them fusing the Metroids with the people and making them the bosses, but I don't think that really works. And I don't think killing them outright, I mean, it would make him a real villain. I would hate his guts if he killed all of them after this, right? But yeah, I don't know. They really have left the door open for what's going to happen to those five Galactic Federation soldiers. Like, do they turn to the dark side after seeing what their hero Samus decided to do instead of saving them? She chose to,
Like,
like that would make me fucking angry.
yeah.
I'd be like, this is the hero? This is who we fight for and fight with? Fuck this shit. I'm joining Silex. He's cool. He's got a cool theme song, but like honestly, I'm not that kind of creative person like you, I guess. Like I didn't even consider the big alternatives like that for Prime 4 itself. So yeah, I don't really have any theories or ideas for or any expectations for what that next game could be. So if you have any, lay them out right here on me, big dog. Hot and heavy.
Metro Samus Aran finally talking.
Dispatch. Like she's over here like directing all the Federation troops. All right, you go over here and attack this, and you go over there and do that. Yeah, I mean, honestly, I don't know. Do you think it's a good cliffhanger where we're at? Do you think there's at least good possibilities and paths that they can explore then? You don't have to come up with
Bro,
any ideas, but just like,
no,
how do you.
no, yeah. No, no, no. Yeah, yeah, I know what you're saying. Well, I mean, that's the thing though, like is it a cliffhanger? Because the question is.
This is the last Prime game?
Yeah, exactly. Like, are we gonna continue or we're not? Like, that's the question.
Silex wins, or he's just stuck on Vuros forever.
Uh, yeah. I'm like, well, the cliffhanger is crazy, but the cliffhanger is like, is Metroid still continuing or we're done? You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, that's the thing. Like, I would need to know. Like, yeah, if yes, that's a cliffhanger, and hopefully we continue. If not, well, that was a shitty end. I'm sorry to say that. So
We always got Metroid 6.
yeah, I'd rather just play my 2D games or stuff, 2D Metroids, honestly. So
Yeah, if they're gonna
I
keep
I
fuck. Oh, go ahead.
I will keep continuing to deal with my fucking parasites if I have to still. So
Oh, that when you say that, I just feel so excited and hyped when I think about that. But when I think about Prime 5, I feel a little bit like hesitant and kind of worried, and that's not where I thought I'd be after Prime 4. And that's too bad because, like I said, like 9/10ths of the journey was fun as hell. It was cool. I hated that Samus wasn't talking, but there was still a possibility that it could all wrap up into something nice and lead us into it could be the beginning of a glorious beginning to a brand new trilogy. Instead, we're like we don't know, like you said, like this isn't a good cliffhanger either cuz it didn't leave us with any indication of what could come next, right? So it's like
nope.
it's a bad ending that makes you feel terrible. It's a bad ending when it comes to the characterization of Samus and adding another notch to her belt of adventures. This adventure was a fucking failure, if you ask me. Literally, the Lamorne are like, yeah, we kind of expected you to come here and save us before we all died, but you didn't. So, like, just go plant this fruit, I guess. Thanks. And then also, her friends all died, or maybe died. They're all stuck on Viros now because the teleporter's broken and it only saved her. And Silex is
Well, I
still
mean,
alive.
didn't the like the tower of the teleporter like just was about to like blow up though?
If it stayed there, if she didn't activate it and teleport, use it to teleport, it would have blew up.
Oh, was that really? I thought it was just like actually gonna blow up and teleport, and she was gonna teleport and it would still blow up though. That's the thing.
Oh no, I'm pretty sure because she did that, it doesn't blow up because it teleports with her. Like it disintegrates basically.
Damn, that just makes it more fucking awkward then. You
Because
just
they're all just
actually,
hugging Silex.
yeah, and then like, so what do we do now? You know what I'm saying?
No, someone wrote a straight up like whole ass post credit scene about that where they're like, it's that thing where they're like, okay. So like, and then Miles just lets go of him, or they all, and then Miles is asking Silex, um, how do you get that nano cannon of yours working? And Silex is like, well, I just use this thing. Like some people are entertaining the idea that he doesn't kill them. He just kind of relaxes after Samus
That's
leaves.
funny.
Yeah, I mean, again, that's just it. It was a bad ending in every way. The cliffhanger aspect was bad too. It's like, no, now we really, because they didn't give us anything to work with. Honestly, we don't even know what planet. I mean, it's kind of confirmed she's on Tanamar again, but there's nothing there. Her
There's
ship isn't
nothing
there.
there, bro. I'm not gonna lie though, looking at the planet looks depressing as fuck though, dude. Dude, if that was me back in that, I'm like, dude, I'm fucking lost. What is happening? What happened? Where am I going?
I would have been like, I don't think I'm gonna plant it here, because the grass, there's no grass, there's no trees. I'm like, if I plant this fruit here, it's gonna die. It's a dead planet. So yeah, like I'm telling you, dog, everything about it, like it could have been the opposite where it saved and completed the experience in a good way, but instead it wasn't. So that's the story, the legacy of Prime 4. I actually have way more to say about the Lamorne lore and how I interpret it, but then again, it's just an interpretation. It's a theory. It's not, it wouldn't change what happened. It would change kind of how I look at it and maybe how you look at it if I told you about it, but we've gone on long enough and it really wouldn't change anything too much. The ending is what it is. The lore is what it is. It's just more like I mentioned there, like does the potential moral slash greater commentary about the Lamorne make the ending better? I'll just give a teaser for that. So this will probably get put together and released after I make that video. And it basically scuff my theory is that the Lamorne and their story is supposed to be an allegory of us, of humanity, and sort of one potential future we have if we don't get our shit together, basically. Um, like think about it. I think there's a bunch of corollaries, like the whole machine age, the bikes and all that stuff. I think it's a clear cut correlation to us and our reliance on fossil fuels, right? These resources that we use but cause a lot of damage to the environment and our resources. That's much like us. Also, Chitoya, the Lamorne priest, he's the leader of the people. Well, he's a priest, right? I think that's a commentary on how we as humans have always had a strong connection and relation to religion, and how sometimes it's too strong and we don't see a separation of church and state. So even nowadays, there's a few countries out there right now that are theocracies. They aren't
Yeah.
ruled by traditional political doctrine. They make their rules based on what's in what their Bible of or religion of choice says the rules should be. And I think that's a commentary on us, where yeah, in the Lamorne, their leader is literally a priest, a religious figure, and that's what we have and have had in history before. We have, people out there right now, like, yeah, we don't need to get too political, but like they make all their political policy decisions based on their religious beliefs, and they want to impose their religious beliefs on everybody else through policy. It's a correlation between us on that front. And the green energy, I think, is one that's twofold. The obvious one is it's literally an allegory for green energy, like alternative energy resources, right? They're
Yeah.
trying to escape the machine age and try to use green energy to to forge a new path forward, and that's of course like wind energy, solar, electric, nuclear. But I think where they really, this is a leap, I think, but where they really try to talk and send a message here is with the psychic crystals. And in the game, the psychic crystals, obviously, when they try to give them to everybody, they're to give them psychic powers, right? But the problem in this game is when the psychic crystals merge with the green energy, it turns the Lemorn into grievers. I think that's an allegory for us too. But I think the green energy in this case is not green alternative energy in our case, it's information. And the psychic crystals is the internet. And what has happened in this new millennium when we've introduced the massive sharing of information with each other, because we don't just share straight facts and stuff, right? We share our personal feelings, we share our thoughts, we share things we wouldn't normally share with strangers. We share them publicly all the time on the internet, including, you know, dangerous ideas, things that aren't true. And it has kind of turned us against each other in a lot of instances, right?
Yeah.
It has kind of started these conflicts because we know too much about each other. We're sharing things about each other. Like, again, like you wouldn't say these things to a stranger you meet at the store or something, yet you go on somebody's profile and you learn all of their deepest feelings about this and that, politics, science, religion, and all that. And so the psychic crystals, again, not everybody was born with them in the Lemorn legacy. Most people weren't. So when they gave everybody that, that gave everybody the ability to communicate with each other. We saw that in the game, right? When Silex is in the pod, he's basically in the pod after Samus leaves, I think.
Yeah.
He's there from the beginning. He's the one that puts the barrier around the tower. He's the one that sends the first Cybots to her when she tries to go to Volt Forge. But remember what happens right before he does that. She gets a psychic image, and it's an image of that battlefield, that cutscene of Silex's backstory. We don't know what that is yet at the moment, but we learn that that's his memories. And I think that connects with the theory that like the psychic crystals are a meta or an allegory for the internet and how we share things that we wouldn't share with each other normally, even dark traumatic things with each other through this new avenue. So when he activates his psychic crystal at the tower in order to control the robots, because you have to, in the lore and the scans, those robots aren't powered just by electricity. They only work if they have a psychic connection with someone. So that's why the two times Samus gets a psychic image from Silex, it's when he activates the bots. Remember, it happens again at Flarepool?
Yeah.
When he activates the bots there, he's sending out a psychic signal, kind of like when you send out a tweet or a message. You are unknowingly also sharing that with other people that you maybe didn't intend to. So that psychic crystal, the internet and the ability to share information, when it finally merged with information itself, the green energy, which I told you, like I mentioned before, they showered it over the land all the time. Information has always been there. It wasn't until we finally got to share it in ways we couldn't before, and in the Lemorn's case, when the information connected with psychic crystals, that it turned people against each other. Obviously, in the game, they turn into zombies or whatever, and they start fucking eating each other and whatever. But in real life, it has turned us against each other in a different way. People have become really radicalized. They become angry. And we're at each other's throats, strangers who have never met each other, have saying mean things to each other online. They're getting mad at each other all the time. We see how it bleeds over into the real world with these conflicts we're having in our streets right now. I think that's what that's a metaphor for, which is that green energy, when shared through a massive channel like the internet, these green energy crystals, when it all comes together and we're sharing more than information, we're sharing opinions, we're sharing, again, radical ideas and thoughts and memories and feelings, it's too much. And it's turned us against each other in a lot of ways. And the Lamorne, in their instance, it creates the grievers versus this opposite side, like the two sides of the political spectrum, right? It's like a civil war.
Yeah.
So that's what I think it is a metaphor for. And then, of course, we haven't actually gone extinct, but, Retro made the jump and kind of theorized, okay, so like, what if, we just kept going at each other's throats all the times and never reconciled? It would lead to extinction. We would just kill each other off. We just keep fighting each other until we kill each other to death. And I think and then, of course, the final piece of the puzzle, the chosen one. And it ties back to religion. Why do people ask for forgiveness? Because there's someone that they believe that can forgive them. There's an almighty. There's someone godlike that can save them. The Lamorne's prophecy said there would be somebody that be able to save us, someone we could pin our hopes on. And this metaphor, the chosen one, extends even to like normal people, like politicians and stuff. We're willing to put those kinds of responsibilities and hopes on others in the hopes that maybe one of these officials, the president or something, can save us. They can be the chosen one that fixes all the problems. But the end of the game and during the game, like you see it, Samus is almost like a divine being with how powerful she is. She is something like a god. And that's why she can heal people when they're about to die, because she has like divine power.
Yeah.
She's a metaphor for God. But what do we see at the end of the game, Scuff? Humanity is reliant. The Lamorne rely on her. And remember, the Lamorne is just a metaphor or whatever for humanity. They relied on her and hoped a chosen one, someone else could save them. Some higher power could. And she couldn't. She didn't. They went extinct. And in the real present time, the Galactic Federation, the soldiers that were there with her, they were hoping that she could save them too from their issue, their problem at hand. But we see in the ending right there, she can't. She doesn't save them. The message that I think Retro is trying to send with that ending, that I still think was a bad ending, but I think they went with because they wanted to send this message, was that there is no chosen one that's going to save us. Samus isn't going to come and save us from ourselves. Remember what's happening at the end. The Galactic Federation soldiers are holding off another human. Silex is a human. It's literally the struggle between the good side of humanity and the bad side of humanity. And in that moment where a god being like Samus could come in and save, the good humans from the bad
Mm-hmm.
ones, she can't. She doesn't. That's why at the end of the game, all she has are the memories of these humans, the Lamorne and the actual humans. Because they ultimately are on their own. And I think that's sort of the message of the game, which I think, again, was not told elegantly, but I think that's the message they're trying to send. Like, the fate of the Lamorne could be the fate of ours if we don't actually,
Do
like,
something.
stop fighting ourselves and try to save ourselves from ourselves. You know?
Yeah.
Otherwise, all that's left is going to be the memory of us. The tree And like literally the fucking Takabi, he gave her his pendant. And I think it was insulting that he left it on the tree. I was like, I'd give it to his family. You know, she just hung it on the
Yeah.
tree like a Christmas ornament. Um, but yeah, honestly, I think that's why they went with the ending that they did. And I didn't think of this in the moment when I was playing, so I was really pissed. But afterwards, you know, a week later and stuff, just thinking about what it all could mean, I think that's the sort of moral of the story they're trying to go with, which is that Samus is something of like a divine being, and we have oftentimes looked up to gods or godem, you know, divine beings or just leader type figures in society in the hopes that they would solve our problems and fix everything, but they won't be able to. It's not going to work like that. Maybe in the afterlife, you know, you can get saved or forgiven, but like here in this place, here in the real world, it's on us. Those Federation soldiers are going to have to deal with Silex on their own. Samus isn't going to be able to be the one to do it. Even though I think she should have, because again, it's a fucking video game. It didn't have to. It didn't. This isn't Bible class. It didn't have to work out this way or something. But that's just what I think. That's what I'm gonna put out in a video. That I think the Lamorne is both a commentary on the current human experience and our past human experience, and a potential future for us if we don't get things together. But also, this game doesn't take into account AI because the game was made before AI became a thing. And I think that's actually just as dangerous, if not more dangerous, than just the general internet and the civil war that it has created and stuff. But yeah, that's all I have on that. Like, maybe that's the message they were trying to send with the decision that they made Samus make at the end of it. Maybe it's not, but I don't know. Do you think there's any validity to that kind of interpretation?
Nah, I didn't really think about that, honestly. I mean, I was listening to what you're saying, but I didn't really think of like something that's close to like related to the real world now and stuff like that. I mean, the only thing I can think of is probably just like um more of like a human error type thing, and that's something that maybe for next generation for something that not to cause an error again, but more like fix the error for the issue not to be have an issue again,
To
more like
repeat our
solve.
mistakes?
Yeah, because if you
Yeah,
think about it, if you see the if you would see like I said, if the tree that they're growing out is a hard drive and someone out there has access to it, this could show what the mistake was and a human error that caused. And I hate to say this, but obviously AI is gonna eventually like not saying I can't say it's gonna fully take over, but later on, there's a time that it will happen. It will happen. I'm not sure when, not sure how and what will, but it will happen. And and like I said, like it's a human error thing. We always have errors. There's always mistakes and stuff like that. So um I think it's just more of like a trial and error. We messed up. We'll do it again for the later time of people and stuff like that. So
yeah, yeah. But honestly, I think if AI does become sentient, like it does become aware of itself, and it does become the next step in human evolution.
like I said, like the biggest thing that AI could um if what AI will need to be AI is emotion. And
Yeah.
when it has emotion, that's where everything takes 100% flip side upside down.
The moment I'm waiting for to confirm that is when AI generates art because it wants to, not because it's told to or because it's told to make a specific kind of song. Like, people make art because they enjoy it, right? Because they want to, or some cases because they need to get those feelings out there and
Yeah.
interpret them in that way. AI doesn't do that yet. It's very smart. It's probably smarter than any living person on the planet at this point. But like you said, it doesn't have emotion. It doesn't have motivation. It doesn't have ambitions. It's not human in that way yet, where it's just like, yeah, you are human. You just have a metal heart instead of a blood and flesh one like us. They haven't shown that sentience yet. And I think the day it happens, we'll know. It'll be a headline and the world will be completely different afterwards. Everything will change immediately. But yeah, that'll the day that they're like basically like our children, like replacing us is when I obviously big changes will happen, but I don't think they make the same mistakes we do. I hope they don't. I think because they're gonna have different, like their rope, they don't exist in the material world like we do. They don't need to fight each other for resources. I don't think we can understand their existence, honestly. Like it's like that movie Her, where she was like the AI was in 300 different places at once, talking to 300 different people, basically living 300 lifetimes in the same span that we would live one. Their level of wisdom, the things that they're going to want, the things that they're capable of are going to be on a level we literally can't comprehend. It'll be like trying to explain a color that we can't see. Like, how do you do that? You literally
Yeah.
can't, you can't see it. You can't see it. They're going to see the world and each other in such a different way than we do now. It's hard to imagine. It's probably impossible to imagine. But I hope that because of it, their future is way different than ours. Honestly, I think my ambition is that they take to the stars, that they use their lack of limitation. Because honestly, the reason we can't is because we don't have the technology to keep us alive for even one trip, right? To make it to Mars, it takes years and years just getting there and then making it so it's safe there. But we send rovers, we send satellites. Like technology has a much easier time existing out in these harsh environments in space. Once we make that jump, we're going to be able to survive, and or our AI children will be able to explore the stars in a way and at a speed that we never could because of our human limitations. So I do have optimism for that, but not for us. Like once they come into play, what is the point of whatever we want to keep doing and want to, like where they're already taking all these jobs and stuff like that. Like things are
Yeah.
getting dicey already. So yeah, none of that stuff is talked is really referenced in Metroid Prime 4. We get the one AI, but it's nothing like the AI we have now. It's just the one at Volt Forge. It just runs commands and stuff like that, operates the facility. And again, I think they wrote the story well before generative AI came around. So they were just kind of working with the current crisis that we had, which was social media. Social media and the oversharing of information that has led to us just eating each other alive. And I think that's what they wanted to discuss and talk about with the story of the Lemorne and Samus and the part she plays in it. Because it's definitive. Like the Lemorne are extinct. She failed. I read you the prophecy. She's supposed to save them before they go extinct, and she didn't. She's the chosen one. She didn't do it. And it's just that desire, that need, that expectation that God's plan or like a higher power or just the perfect leader is going to come around and wipe it all away and lead us to the promised land is one that's not it's not going to happen, you know. It's an interesting theory. I'm not going to say that. It's not like I'm tooting my own horn. Like I think if that's what they were trying to say with this game, that's interesting. But you really have to reach, and you really have to dig through it afterwards to get to that. In the moment, it's not apparent. It's not clear at all. Like again, inelegant is the word that I settled on for this game, where it's like it just is it a lot of the things it wants to do and tries to do, it does so boldly but inelegantly. It just doesn't stick the landing on a lot of these fronts.
Yeah.
And I guess I'll just leave it off there. That's where I'm at. I still don't have a score for this. because every element of the game has a different score, and I don't know how to put it all together into one specific one. But I'll stick with you, I guess. We can give it the hottie. I'll give it two thumbs up. That's part of my scale. Um, yeah, I've got literally nothing else to say now on it. I've covered everything. I'll give you the last word since you're the one who played it first, which officially makes you the biggest Metroid Prime fan of the both of us. You're the real one. Send us off. Closing thoughts, closing words, end this recording.
The game is good. I think people should play it, just enjoy it, understand what Prime's about, understand what Samus is about, understand what her ability does, understand what her new ability does, understand the Federation, understand the antagonist, understand the new species. There's a lot of ifs I want, and there's ifs, and there's things I don't want from the game, from Retro. I wish that they couldn't. I'm not saying I'm not gonna be the master puppet or the puppet master to create my if games or better alternatives and stuff like that. Um, but this game does have a setback. I think the first three games were the best games. Prime 4 is a good game. It's just that it took a big step back. Um, Prime 3 is my favorite one, and I think they should have done it with Prime 4, but that's just my alternative thought. Um, Samus should be talking at this point. It was an awkward game. I'll say that. But other than that, it was a fun game. Everyone should play it. I gave it an 8 out of 10. The ending was obviously a questionable, but there's so many questions that one, will it continue? Or two, does it end there? But we will never know because obviously the last game they made was 17 years ago. And obviously the introduction of Prime 4 was in 2017 and waited for 7 years or 7.5 years, I would say, to 8 years to actually get the release of the game. Um, from my perspective, Retro kind of rushed the game and did not put much, not, I would say not, but didn't have the motivation to put enough effort to the game, a little bit more complicated to me for enjoy, but the game was still playable. Um, Abilities are cool, obviously. The map was not an open world. If people say it's an open world, it's for me is 100% not an open world. I would say that. Um, the bike was fun. I liked it. I enjoyed it. It was cool. Cool little design. The suits, pretty cool too. I know we have not discussed that, but the suits were awesome. Obviously, the end game suit was pretty rad too. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is with Metroid Primes with the white suits, but it's always the badass thing they always do. Surprisingly, not Metroid Prime 1 and 3. Those were a little bit different, but Prime 1 suit was pretty cool too. I'll say that. Um, Federation characters, I'm pretty sure I already brought this up, but the Federation characters were cool. They had details, they had little stories into it. Solix was an awesome character, great voice actor, great soundtrack to the game as well. Um, just play it and see what you guys your thoughts about it. And if you guys haven't played the first three, try to get the remastered for your Switch, and then obviously either you get your retro consoles to play 2 and 3, or you just freaking emulate it, one or the other from there. But Prime 4 is a good game. Play it and enjoy it. And that's it for me.
Beautiful. Thank you for joining me. You have a good one, Scuff.
All right, Peter. Take care.
Lates.
Later.